Sir, good to see you here.
Good morning, everybody online. How y'all doing today? Mr. Edwards, thanks for joining us. See, we got Jose, Katie, Lori, Kathy. Awesome, awesome. We'll get rocking and rolling in just a second. Let everybody settle in here. Stuff out of everybody's way. Rock and roll. It's so quiet. Must be, it's a very Monday feeling Tuesday. Just a quick note, we will wrap up a little early today at probably about 11:45. We've got the monthly sales meeting this afternoon, starts off at noon, so we'll want to clear out of here. So in case they need to set anything up, we'll probably have other folks kind of piling in around that time. So did everybody enjoy their 3-day weekend?
Yes.
What'd y'all get into? Tell me something good. I know you went out and showed homes. How was that?
It is definitely different, being an agent versus the person wanting to buy the house or sell your house. Just different, completely different mindset. House I looked at, the first one I looked at was, I would never buy it, but that's not the point. Point is assess what's there. Okay, this is a fixer-upper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then I'm thinking about the agents that's got it on the market, that's trying to sell this thing. He's got a tough job. Because it's like, great neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like,
Tough job if he's looking for a traditional buyer. However, this market's flooded with investors thanks to HGTV. Everybody and their grandmother thinks they can flip a house these days.
that would be a candidate.
Yep. And so it's just making sure you get the word out to the right people. And one of the things we focus on with our listing is talking to the seller, and especially when I'm up in a competition, is asking that seller if the other agent went over their method to how they're going to market to other agents. And so there's a way I can run searches and kind of figure out who's probably working with investors and would proactively reach out to those agents. We know that 92% of buyers use an agent. So why would my markets, most agents, when we go to talk to a seller, we only focus on how we're going to market towards potential buyers. And that's great. But I think you need to also talk about how you're going to market to the agents that already have represented buyers that are pre-approved and ready to go. That's my quickest path to getting this home sold, is finding a buyer that's already in the market, pre-approved and ready to write an offer. And so talking about how I can proactively find out who's helping investor clients and find us a good fit for this. But yeah, it's different when you're walking through as an agent. One of the first things I had to learn was how to sell a home I may not live in. That might not be my style, but there's different styles for everybody. The story they tell in like Bold is, the guy that first created the Dodge pickup truck, built a blue pickup truck, but he figured out pretty quickly some people like red pickup trucks, some people like blue pickup trucks, some people like black pickup trucks. They figured, some people actually don't even like pickup trucks. They like cars. And so it's, knowing there's a right fit for everybody out there. So, and you learn to lock those doors.
Oh, yes, that was, for those that were on Facebook, I did post it tonight, but, so I literally, it took me 4 tries to get the thing open. Even after the class where Hunter actually opened it right here. Actually, Sumi opened it. And then, so after I did that fiasco, got in there, looked at the house, got back out. I was so focused on locking that key in the box, I forgot to lock the door. I was literally I was driving us 2 streets over. I'm like, I didn't actually lock the door.
And it happens even after you've done it for a while, because you're in the middle of talking to your client, you're figuring out where are we going next, you're looking up your MLS sheet, you just got a million things going on in your mind. Practice creating a habit of where every time you go into the house, you do something with the key box. Myself, I immediately take the key box and I put it right to the left of the door, either in the little window. If there's no window, I put it right there on the ground next to the door with the key in it. So at least on my way out, hopefully I see it and just get in that habit. Otherwise, you'll just absentmindedly, that's when you put it in your pocket and you're so excited, especially if they say, hey, we love this house, let's get home and write an offer. You're just so excited. And then you do the inevitable is you pull your keys out and there's a random key sitting on your table and you're going, where does that belong? Tip for when you get those listings is I keep a little thing of a box of 50 key tags with write on little labels. And so every one of my listings, I write the address on there so that at least if the agent goes home with it at the end of the night, they know exactly where to get it back to. I also keep a spare copy of every one of my listings keys in my office. So if a key does get lost, agent maybe puts it in his pocket, they haven't realized it yet, and I got another showing at 2 o'clock this afternoon, I gotta get a new key out there. Obviously, I don't wanna have to pay for a locksmith, so I go ahead and have a second backup key made right at the beginning.
Hey, Hunter.
What's that?
Hey, Hunter, may I add also make sure your cell phone's with you? I once at the very beginning of the career left my cell phone in the house. So you close the Supra, you leave, and you kind of panic like, oh, let the client leave, and then go into panic mode. What do? I had to go home, get on Facebook, get on the group page, see if anybody can meet me at the house to get in.
Yep, all part of the adventure. Absolutely. So yeah, don't leave the cell phone. Don't leave the cell phone. Typically when I walk into the house, I have my cell phone. I have a folder with me where I keep the MLS sheets and the key box. They're kind of the main things I'm in charge of. One of the things we're going to do is I'm going to look at the schedule and I'm going to try probably next week to schedule kind of a field trip. We may leave, kind of hear the office, maybe leave after our first session kind of at 10:30 and find a couple vacant listings for us all to go out and preview. I'll announce that in advance. I will get a list to everyone online. If you're not able to join in person, we will Zoom it. And we will probably, I'm going to find another agent to help so we can split into 2 groups since we're quite a large group with everything going on. I don't want to bring 40 of us into it, but I'd love to kind of practice going through what do you say when you walk through a house? What highlights should you point out? Should you tell them when you walk into the kitchen that, hey, this is the kitchen? My answer, no, they kind of know what a kitchen is. You'll have those agents, I've been to the open houses, they're like, well, this is the kitchen, and this is the living room, and this is the dining room. I probably figured all that out through context clues, like the stove and the microwave being in this room, but you just point out the features. Those are Corian countertops, or this is marble floor, or this is crown molding throughout the house. So you want to point out the features a little bit more than just naming the room. So who else went out and got into some good trouble this weekend?
Hey, Hunter, can you hear me?
I can.
I, on Sunday, shadowed and helped with an open house that my sponsor had.
Beautiful. How did that go?
It went really well. It was pretty well attended. We had like 8 different groups that came in. A little unusual floor plan upstairs, so I kind of stayed upstairs to show the people around up because it was very easy to miss a couple of bedrooms upstairs the way that house was laid out.
That'll happen. So sometimes when I have a home that has maybe some features that aren't immediately obvious when you walk through is we'll create a feature card. Because obviously when you're there, you can point them out, but most of the buyers are going to be going on self-guided or with their agent. And so I'll have a feature card kind of pointing them in the direct, hey, don't miss this extra back area of the walk-in closet. Hey, don't miss the side yard over here. Hey, don't miss the mini bar hidden over here. So sometimes there are things that aren't immediately able to be seen by the eye that you still want to point out. And that's one way to help them. That, or if I know I've got a house with some special features, maybe it's got a huge side yard that you don't see from the backyard, is I'll call the agent before the showing and say, hey, make sure you guys walk around the side. You'll see they've got a really nice side yard with a built-in gazebo and an outdoor kitchen, whatever the case may be, to kind of help highlight and make sure that those buyers don't miss it. Awesome. And yeah, open houses, they're so hit or miss. I had an agent that I was talking to on Sunday night, and he had held 2 open houses. First one, he said he barely had time to catch his breath. He had brought a book to read, and he didn't even get to bring it out in the car. That he had people lined up outside the door before he even got there. And I can promise you, if you're running a few minutes late to an open house, that's the day that they're going to be lined up outside the door. Get there early, because nothing sucks worse than you're trying to open up the door and get all the lights turned on and get your stuff out and get the signs out, and you're missing the opportunity to convert a couple buyers. Because I can tell you, the people that are lined up outside the door, you think they're pretty serious about wanting to get in and look at that particular home and purchasing. Typically, that's going to be one of the most serious people that walks through your open house. And if I'm spending my time running around doing some housekeeping, buyers know how to get in and out of a house without having to talk to you. They've practiced, kind of like going to a store. I can avoid, I had to go to Walmart this weekend, and they had people from Spectrum out selling cable. And I made sure I did a nice wide path through the electronics to curve around. I didn't need to go through the electronics, but damned if I didn't want to get stopped and have to explain that I don't want a cable and I don't need their internet. And so buyers have learned to do the same thing. Miss Erin, I know you raised your hand.
Yep, I went to your open house with Shayla this weekend on Saturday.
There you go. How was the turnout? I hear a lot of agents.
Yeah, a lot of agents, only a few people came by, but it was still good just to get one done, so.
There you go. Now, were there agents actually with them? Okay. You'll have sometimes buyers, just like they've learned to walk through without stopping and saying hello. They've also typically learned to answer the question, do you have an agent with yes? I don't ask that question. So the way I phrase it, my script, going back to scripts last week, so my main question at an open house is, do you guys currently live in the area? Second question I ask is, how are you finding the homes that you're looking at? And I will make an assumption, and I know making an assumption makes an ass out of you and me, but I will assume that unless their answer is, hey, my awesome agent Erin has me set up on a search, if their answer is, we're going on Zillow, we're going on Craigslist, we're just looking online, we're using an app, most likely they don't have an agent. That's one way to kind of weed through that without directly asking, do you guys have an agent? So you feel like you're ready to rock and roll and do your own now?
Yeah.
Was it nice kind of having a partner though?
Yeah, we talked a lot, so it was good.
Yeah, to me, teaming up, and I know Ed, when you teamed up with your sponsor, I enjoy teaming up on an open house. We just round robin the leads that come through. Gives me somebody, A, for safety reasons. You're not stuck in a house by yourself. You never know who's going to walk through that door. B, gives you somebody to talk to if it is slow. And C, it allows me to get into conversation with the people walking through and not always worried, especially at these busier ones. You know you're going to have a super busy open house, brand new listing, $350,000 in the heart of Frisco, opening weekend. You're going to have 30, 40 people through there. If I don't have a partner, I end up just becoming the guy that's handing out flyers. I could have paid somebody minimum wage to just go there and hand out flyers. My goal is to convert leads out of this open house. And so having a partner there actually allows you the time to do so. So who else got something good they got into this weekend?
I did. Well, kind of. Hi.
Hello, Miss Stacy.
Hello. Well, I'm like helping my friend list a house. So I went on the listing appointment for her, which was good and scary, but we got the listing. So I figure that's good. But yeah, so we're going to try and list it Thursday. It's in Plano, Pittman Creek. It's like an awesome investment property. So if you have any investor clients or know any, I think it'll be up this Thursday.
What's the price point gonna be?
350-ish.
Okay.
So we haven't quite gotten there, but it's legit. Like the bones are amazing. So we didn't do a foundation report yet, but no cracks, like everything's awesome. It's just like super dated, like 90s dated.
Cool.
So yeah.
I love the word the bones. I use that word a lot when I'm talking to my buyers. It's helping them see the bones of the house and sometimes oversee some of the cosmetic choices of a home. That's why cleanliness is next to godliness, in my opinion, when it comes to listings. The cleaner you can make it, the more my buyers tend to enjoy it. I've had buyers that will walk in a clean home. It's a 3-bedroom home and they have 6 kids. It's clearly it won't work, but they'd rather buy that one than the 7-bedroom home with the perfect floor plan with the huge game room because it just doesn't show well. I'm like, well, what are we going to do with the other 4 kids? They're like, I don't know, we'll get rid of them. But it truly is. And it's helping your buyers sometimes see the bones of a house and overlook things. The 2 typically hardest things to overlook are flooring and colors of the walls. The 2 easiest things to change in a home, flooring and the colors of the walls. But if I've got some blue shag carpet and some bright neon pink walls, then it's tough to get over that. And that's why we try to get our sellers to neutralize the home. Well, it's awesome. You had your 5-year-old girl and you painted a Frozen Elsa scene with all sorts of sparkly colors and glitter. We want to maybe kind of just take that to a nice neutral wall color. You may have kids like me. When I was a kid, I thought whenever your parents bought a house, you just moved into the house with all the furnishing exactly like it was. So we'd go look at houses with like a girl's bedroom. And I'd get real upset because I didn't want to live in a girl's bedroom. Like, I wanted baseball players on my walls. So that was something I learned as I got older, is you actually bring your own furniture and design touch to a house, but you want to help them overlook it. So way to go out and get it done.
How important is staging?
It's pretty crucial. Now we don't typically stage our vacant listing. Depends on the price point. If it's in a high luxury market, certainly. My average listing, if it's vacant, she was at one this weekend, we won't have that stage. What we do when it comes to staging is more the house where the seller is still in the house, bringing a stager in to more declutter. And to help us, okay, that brown lazy boy that sits right in the middle, right in front of the flat screen TV that the husband or the wife sits in every night, that's got the warm, you can see where they sit, you can see exactly where their elbow goes, it's their chair. While I certainly want people to be comfortable, we may want to get that out because it's just sitting in the middle of the living room, completely doesn't match any furniture, it looks old and outdated, and helps bring the feel of the home down. Let's go ahead and put that out in the garage. Let's go ahead and store that. The example I like to give is I had a nice, sweet, elderly lady. She had missionaries that lived with her. She was very, very religious. She had 83 crucifixes in her 1,200 square foot home, including a pretty giant one right when you open the door. And so that's where I really like to bring in a stager. I don't want to be the jerk that has to tell my client, hey, we need to take Jesus down off the walls. That's a very delicate conversation. My stager only has to be there for 2 hours. They will not see that client again. They will never have any relationship with them. It's much easier for my stager to come in, be the professional, have that conversation. The way my stager explained it is, a lot of times kids run through the house, they put their hands on the walls, they knock stuff over. I would hate to see one of these get damaged. Why don't we go ahead and get these wrapped up so that they're safe? So they can help with those conversations. My stager a lot of times will have maybe some old drapery and curtains that, in 1995 might have been really cool. In 2021, we don't see that very often. And so she'll help make suggestions like, let's take those down. Let's move the couch here. Let's get that table, it's way too big. Let's bring in something smaller. It helps more with kind of the feel with my homes that are already have furnishings. One stager described to me, her goal is to make it so that a dragon could walk through the front of the house all the way to the back door with its giant tail and not knock anything over. We want that much space so that you can really get the feel for the house. I have a vacant listing coming up right now in West Plano. I think we're gonna virtually stage it. The cost to bring in furniture can get expensive. I mean, a couple $1,000s a month. Virtual staging is where they literally are going to virtually put inside of the pictures furniture. 10 years ago, it was pretty obvious. It looked like a 5-year-old had taken Photoshop and just copied and pasted a picture of a couch, and it was just like hovering 4 feet off the ground. These days, they can do some pretty cool stuff with it. And so one of the things we're going to do is have it virtually staged. And then inside the home, we're going to get some nice professional kind of poster board size things that we're going to hang up on easels, so that as people look in this room, because it's a very open floor plan, I myself am not the greatest at designing homes. Like as a single guy, my apartment was literally a black house facing my big flat screen TV. I saw nothing wrong with that. I've since been told maybe I need to update my style a little bit, that it reeked of bachelorhood. So now my furniture's fancy and all sorts of colors and fun stuff. And so the virtual staging helps folks like myself who maybe can't spatially see in a big open space exactly where would my couch go, where could I put 2 chairs, where would the TV go, will help them kind of see that. We'll also do the same thing. Sometimes we'll have a backyard that we know people are going to want to put a pool in. I've gone out and had a pool company draw up the artist rendering, and we'll put that next to the backyard so that buyers can see, and we'll already have it priced out. Hey, if you want your backyard oasis, we've already got a company contracted. They pulled the permit, $30,000 and your backyard could look like this. So it's to help them kind of visualize the potential of that. Sometimes on a flip home, depending on the price, we may have a contractor go through and kind of do up a kind of artist rendering of what it may look like if we change it, so the buyers can kind of help see the potential in it. And there's nothing cooler than artist renderings. I love when you see like artists, but like the new Texas Rangers ballpark, the artist renderings look so cool, and then you go out there and you're like, oh, it looks like an IKEA. But the artist rendering looks so really cool, and the people are always happy and they're all like walking around, and then you get out there and you're like, oh, maybe not so much. So I'm big on the artist renderings. So Groovy, so it sounds like quite a few of you who did some lead generation this weekend, because we know without leads, nothing else matters. We know without leads,
Nothing else matters.
Damn straight. But it doesn't. Going out and previewing homes, if you're never gonna have anybody to show them to, won't do a whole lot of good. Going asking all these questions, they're great questions, as long as we're gonna go out and do some lead generation. It's that lead generation. So what methods are you guys starting to do for lead generation? Mike, I know I saw your hand.
I was down in Houston and was at some friends' place, and friends of their friends were there, and just talked to them and an agent to just kind of got a feel for what they were looking at doing.
Mhm.
And they kind of mentioned that they were looking at flipping, so it could be a potential referral. So I got a few people that I can add to my database.
Rock and roll. And that's it. It's just getting into those conversations. You can almost guarantee anytime you go over to like a friend's house for dinner, real estate's it's just an interesting job. People are interested. It affects almost every one of us. I don't know a single person that doesn't live somewhere. Doesn't mean that there aren't people that their living situation is way less than to be desired. We have a huge homeless issue in this country, but they live somewhere. So we're all ultimately worried about where our head's going to lay down at night. So it's something that affects almost everyone. And there's a reason why HGTV and Bravo have 1,000 different shows, Love It or List It, Millionaire Real Estate Maker, First Home Buyer shows, the one where they go to like foreign countries and find homes. And there's a reason for that, because this is an interesting job. Well, a lot of us got into it. It seems like it would be a fun career. It's something a lot of people are interested in and learning about. And real estate affects almost everybody I talk to. One of my favorite little party tricks is if I'm going into a friend's house, maybe we got like a baby shower or something, we're going over to watch a football game this weekend, is I will pull out literally in the car before I get out, unless I took the time before I left and pulled it up on Netrus, but I'll pull out my phone and pull out the Kelly app and ask for a market snapshot of that neighborhood. so that I can get a quick glance at how many active listings are there, how many have recently sold, what's the average days on market, what's the average price per square foot, what's the average sold price, so that inevitably when I'm over at Ray's house and Ray asks me how's the market, what do you think our house would be? Ray, without crunching the numbers, I mean, it'd be really tough to say, but I know your neighborhood's super hot right now. I think there's currently only one active listing. And I know in the last 90 days, I think about 5 homes sold. And I know that home right behind you over there off of Maple Leaf Drive, they ended up going under contract for 101% of list price. I literally knew none of that 5 minutes before I walked into your door. But do I now not sound like the local economist of choice and the neighborhood expert? And so no, in advance, they're gonna ask you questions like that. So instead of just going, I don't know, I'll have to go home and look at the numbers, look at them right before you walk in. So that you're able to get a little bit more in depth. Now, if somebody asks you how the market is, I give that answer that Gary gives, that if your answer is, well, it's great or it's not great, that you should lose your real estate license. Because as Gary says, that answer is gonna be totally dependent on what their needs are. How's the market? And Aaron goes, well, it's great. Well, I'm a first-time home buyer trying to buy a home for $200,000 up here in Collin County. It ain't so great for me. It's great for the sellers on the other side. They're gonna, get well over list price and quick close and probably no repairs. Whereas myself as the buyer, man, we're walking into a tiger's den. We're gonna get chewed up and spit out a couple times. So it's understanding why someone asked, and that helps you take that conversation deeper. Because if all Aaron does is say, well, the market's super great. Oh, cool. Well, thanks, Aaron. Or she goes, hey, well, why are you asking? Are you thinking about buying, selling, investing? Tell me what you're kind of looking to do. Well, my girlfriend and I are thinking about buying our first home. Okay, what areas are you looking at? Well, the market in that area is very competitive right now. And so all of a sudden, she can have an in-depth conversation and do kind of a mini needs analysis and find out, hey, we're looking to get pre-approved in the next 60 days to go out and buy a house. And so it's having that depth of conversation, asking those questions. Those are scripts. That's a script. Instead of responding back, it's great. Well, why do you ask? Are you looking to buy, sell, or invest in 2021? What's your ultimate long-term goals? So we're looking to pick up 3 or 4 investment properties. It's a little shaky right now. Stuff out there, but I think a lot of investors are having to overpay because this market is so hot. That cuts it, when you go $30,000 above list price, you're cutting into your profit margin quite a bit. And we're seeing it. I had an agent that was just in Ignite last time, wrote 2 offers this weekend, one for $15,000 over, one for $20,000 over. He didn't get either of them. It's a tough market in certain areas. But so understanding why they would ask is going to have a lot to do with how I'm going to answer that question. Who else did some lead gen this weekend?
I did some contact work.
Okay.
I was out to Topgolf.
Okay.
There's an event coming up that I'm on the board of Chamberlain Ballet.
Okay.
I sponsor something out there in about 4 months. And he's been in this house about 4 years. And he's thinking about it. My card came right on out.
Yep.
Talked to him about the area. He knows the area well. He's got a friend who's in the real estate business. And I said, I'd be happy to help you. Your friend can help you too. I said, when you get ready, give me a call. We can talk. So I gave him some cards and he wanted to push the conversation a little more.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted to know what it was like in Plano. I told him it's a very competitive market. I didn't use hot.
Mm-hmm.
I use competitive market. And I said, there are probably 2 times the number of people looking as there are listings. But I said, be aware that 375,000 is probably where you're looking. That's about the price point these days. And the second one was a good friend of mine. I play golf with him a couple of times a month. And he's in a nice place over by Prestonwood Golf.
Okay.
Golf club. And he's thinking about it. He doesn't know what he wants to do yet. And his wife says, no, we're not going to do this. But she can be talked into.
Yeah.
So I'm having dinner with him tonight.
Thinking about it, that's where the door is open.
Yeah.
Those are the perfect, you said you didn't do any lead gen, you just do contact. That is lead generation, man. That's it. I remember we brought up Cheryl Webb, one of our top agents here at the Market Center, and she was doing a panel and I was moderating it. And I asked, Cheryl, what do you do for lead generation? And she goes, you're not going to like this answer. She goes, I don't lead generate. And I'm like, we sold 20 million last year. Like, walk me through what you do all week then. Well, Mondays I'm the head of the chamber over in Wiley, and so we have meetings over there. And then I have a networking group I go to lunch with that day. And then Tuesday, got a charity that I'm on the board of, and then we've got an event on Tuesday evening. And then Wednesday, I've got my ladies bridge club that I go to, and Thursday, I've got a tennis league that I play in that we all go out to lunch afterwards. So I really just spend my time doing the stuff that I enjoy doing. That's lead generation. Like, it's such a big term that I think so many of us just immediately like correlate that to like, I have to be like making cold calls. Like I'm in some boiler room, just knocking out calls all day. You guys say that's a good movie. But I'm knocking out calls all day and I'm just on the phone and I got my headset on and it's just a boring, mundane, there's no lights on and no music. It's just, lead generation, make it fun. Make it going and playing golf with folks. That's it. I had the agent that literally told me all she wanted to do was play golf. So she's on a golf course every day. We're just purposeful about who she goes and plays with. Can't play with the same 3 people every day, unless those 3 people are going to be buying, $10 million worth of real estate each and can refer you that much business. Then maybe you should be playing with those same 3 people every day. But it's a great way to go out and make connections. It's doing the things you already do and just taking them from what we call entrepreneurial to purposeful. To go from I naturally do these things to now I'm going to be more purposeful about it and really grow these relationships and put a lot into them so that I can get a lot back out of them. So groovy. So it sounds like, guys, if you're not lead generating, there's no better time than the present. We're walking into an extremely hot spring. This spring's going to be nuts. And the business you're going to do in March, April, and May, it's coming from the results of today. In other words, if I don't have a paycheck today, I don't have any business today, it's not that I'm being a lazy SOB today. It's that 90 days ago, 60 days ago, I need to go back and look at my activities. And I'll tell you, a lot of agents, they take off starting about October 31st, and they don't kick back in until February 14th. And then they spend all the spring missing out because they're just trying to ramp up to their business, build a pipeline. Then they have busy summers, gets them all the way through October of next year, and then they just kind of shut it down. Oh, well, it's Halloween. I got, Thanksgiving's coming up in 3 weeks. Yeah, I gotta get the turkey ready. Are you dry aging that thing and like have to watch it yourself? What the hell's going on, man? And then Thanksgiving is, well, the holidays are coming up. Once again, in like a month. And then New Year's, I'm still a little tired from New Year's Eve on the 20th, so probably need at least another week to ramp up. And so literally there are agents that take off about 3 months every year. What they're really doing is they're killing their business for 6 months. Because they're not just taking off now, it's going to kill them in the spring. And so it's knowing that what the activities you're putting in today are going to determine what your spring is like. And it's going to be a hot market. There's huge opportunities out there. So start making those connections today so that in March, April, May, you're sitting at closing tables. But that comes from what we do today. And I know we're still learning. Stacy went out on a listing presentation this weekend. We haven't taught listing presentations yet. Like, props to her, man. Go out and do it. I'd be happy to join you if I can. It sounds like she teamed up with another agent that helped her out. There's nothing wrong with your first listing, co-listing it. Say, hey, come to me. I'll hook you on some of our better ALC members. Somebody that's going to take the time to teach you the ropes. Perfect way to learn. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Got a buyer that you need help with, teaming up with somebody. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So for those of you that have been getting out and getting it, way to go. Those of you that are still kind of, I need to know more, let's hop off, take that leap of faith. Nothing bad's going to happen to you. Anything you do today is not going to destroy your business for the rest of your career. It's going to be an opportunity to learn. You fail forward. As Mark Cuban says, he's failed more times than most of us will ever even try. But he keeps trying. Then you end up coming up with an idea like internet radio and becoming a billionaire. But that wasn't his first venture. It won't be his last. You know, he owns me. I watch Shark Tank every now and then. Dude owns like a part of 50 companies. 49 of them are going to fail. Almost guaranteed. Man, if he can hit the one. And so it's failing forward, as opposed to, think about if you were the kind of investor that I got to pick out of those 50, which one's going to succeed. That's a little tougher. I'd rather be okay failing 49 times, because each time I'm going to learn from it. Each time you talk to a buyer or talk to a seller, you're going to get better. The more bats you get, the more pitches you see, the better you're going to get. And that's just the name of the game. So get out there and make waves. So rock and roll. I want to go over just one thing on Netris before we, so each day we're going to kind of try to start incorporating some technology. Later this week, we're going to actually practice writing offers and going through that process, but I want you guys to start seeing something. I know I think I've shared with everyone how to do this on Netris, so this is going to be a quick one. But I just want to make sure everyone is comfortable.
They have an app here for
They do. I don't use it. I go straight in through my Chrome browser on my phone to Netris.
so you just have it set up on that. I was trying to figure out which way the best way to.
That's how I do it. I do know some agents that use the app, so. I just wanted to go over one more time how to set up and save a search. Does everybody remember how to do that? Cool, so you're starting to talk with buyers. You've got a potential couple listings. One of the first things I would do is maybe not set up the client, but set myself up on a search for their neighborhood. Who's thinking about farming a neighborhood? One of the first things you should do, so if you want to practice this afternoon, set yourself up on a search for your neighborhood. You should be getting an email every time a home in your neighborhood comes on the market. You should be previewing the home every time it comes on the market. You should know every home in your neighborhood. I know agents that create like a preview book for their neighborhood. Well, you know, this year there's 100 homes in your neighborhood, 10 of them go on sale. You know, by the course of 5 years into your career, you've probably seen half the homes in your neighborhood. That's how you become the local expert, is you can literally tell people the history of these homes. That home that we're about to go look at, the Johnsons lived there back in the early 2000s. And I know they're the ones that added on that huge backyard and actually built that sunroom off the kitchen. And then I remember the Smiths, when they moved in, they are the ones that put in the pool in the backyard. And they had a couple little kids. I think they just graduated and that's who's selling it. But you can literally become the neighborhood expert because I can talk because I've seen all these homes. And oh my gosh, they've got this amazing waterfall they built into the pool. It's so gorgeous. Like, how do you know that? Well, I just, you know, I've lived in this neighborhood and it's my expertise. And so they become the experts. And that's by literally doing things like previewing every home in their neighborhood, by having a search set up so they don't miss anything. So let's go to search. I like to use the quick search. So if I want just active and coming soon listings, I either want to set myself up or I got a buyer that I'm working with. Subdivision. So what I always do is, you see that little asterisk in front and behind. Anybody know why I put that asterisk there? So Whiffletree is a subdivision in Plano. There's multiple phases.
Sorry. When you do the asterisk, it will populate anything that contains before or after the asterisk.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. So Whiffletree, it's got phases. I'm looking for phase 7 as the neighborhood I'm interested in. However, some people will type it out, phase 7. Some people will write PH7. Well, if all I have is Whiffletree, it's only going to look for somebody that literally just wrote in the subdivision exactly Whiffletree. Well, there's going to be different ways it's going to be spelled out on the MLS. So by putting the asterisks, what I'm doing is capturing anything that contains Whiffletree. So when I search subdivision, I always have those asterisks in. Now, I know there are multiple Whiffletrees in Plano, and they're not all next to each other. There's one up off of Spring Creek in between Spring Creek and Parker on Independence. And then the neighborhood that I'm looking for is off of Legacy in between Independence and Coit. So they're totally in different spots. So one of the ways I want to make sure is I go in and I put in the zip code. So there's currently 0 active matches. There were 9 sold. Do you think they've got an inventory issue over in Whiffletree? There is literally no active listings and we had 9 sold. That's a seller's market. So since there's nothing in there, let's try a different neighborhood. Deerfield, there's at least 2 active in there. Now I'll come in because there may be a Deerfield in Cedar Hill. There may be a Deerfield in Duncanville. There may be one in Richardson. I don't know where, some of these subdivision names, Hunter's Ridge. There's like a Hunter's Ridge in every other neighborhood. Not that I'm prefer that neighborhood over others just because of its strong name. But so I want to make sure I'm searching in the city I want to be in. Then I would come in and any of the other criteria that your potential buyer. Now, if I'm setting this up for just myself and I'm farming Deerfield, this is good. I just want to see active and coming soons anywhere in Deerfield and Plano. Notice when I took out Plano, I had 2 matches. So there is a Deerfield somewhere else. If you're not sure what cities you've checked, you can come on, see the little kind of pieces of paper right to the right. You can click on that and it will open up and show you what you currently have selected. Say you want to add 3 different cities, you can click on one, hold control, click on the other, hold control, and add. Now, if I wanted to select every city from Abbott to Agua Dulce, I can click on Abbott, hold down Shift, go to where you want to go, and click, and it will click everything in between. So Shift will select everything from point A to point B. Control will allow me to select individual ones out of that list. If I wanted to, I would then just hit add, it would move them over there. Oh, I hit add, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I really just want Plano. I don't need Abbott and Agua Dulce. Select the first one, hit Shift, select the other one, hit remove. So I know that I've got the right search. Inside of price, it'll automatically have those last 3 zeros. So if you want a range, so like 300 to 500,000, you just type 300 to 500. Now you can take off the zeros by clicking this little box here, but it's defaulted to click for you. Total bedrooms, if you want 3 only, just type 3. If you want 3 or more, 3 plus. I always ask my clients, some clients, they don't want extra. We want 3, but we want a 2,000 square foot home and we want 3 bedrooms. We don't want 4. 4 bedrooms is going to just take the square footage and subdivide it more. When we talk about CMAs, I'll tell you, I don't even look at bedroom number. It makes no difference to me. This office right here is 1 room, right? But it's 400 square feet. Well, if I draw a wall down the middle, now it's just 2 rooms. It doesn't really matter how many rooms, I still have the exact same space. Drywall doesn't cost that much. So bedrooms to me don't necessarily matter because there wasn't a whole lot of cost. It's just how they subdivided their square footage. Bathrooms, stuff like that, that does matter. Bathroom's going to cost some money. I'm going to put in some plumbing. I'm going to have to run water to it. But so bedrooms can go there. Maybe you want 3 to 4. They don't mind having a 4th bedroom, but they don't want 5. So just 3 to 4. Common search, so they put you a little box here, master bedroom on the 1st floor. Something when you're talking with a buyer, you want to know, do you prefer your master on the 1st or the 2nd floor? I've found people typically from the Northeast are more used to bedrooms on the 2nd floor. They think it's a little weird, whereas growing up in the South, I just assumed the master will always be on the downstairs. And kids' bedrooms are on the upstairs if you're in a 2-story. There's some young parents want the bedroom on the same floor as the children. If you got a little baby, you don't want to have to be running up and down the stairs at night, so maybe you want the nursery downstairs. Total square feet. So if I just put 2,000, it's only going to find homes with 2,000 square feet exactly. So I can put 2,000 plus, or I can have a range, 2,000 to 5,000 square feet. Acres, going to work the same way. Year built, number of stories, number of garage spaces, total covered parking. And then anything else additional I want to add, I just come down here to add and remove. And you'll see all the different things you can search by. Elementary school name, flooring, what type of foundation it has, garage length. Had a client, that was the first thing we checked in every house. He had a big old F-350. And we didn't even walk in the house. He would walk right out to the garage with his tape measure, and if he couldn't fit the F-350 in there with about 6 inches worth of space behind it, didn't even need to look at the house. Priorities. Everybody's got theirs. But that's when we talk about buyers and the needs analysis, those are the little things you got to learn about them so that you can help them find the right house. Once I figure that out, guess what I would do? Go preview every damn house. Instead of having to drive all over town with him just so we could get out and start measuring garages, much easier for me just on an afternoon when I had time off to go preview those homes, go measure the garage, go look at the homes, see if I couldn't rule them out ahead of time. Save their time. But play around this week. Go on there. Look at the different things you can search for. The more you know how to do this, the better you'll be able to help your buyers find the right house. The more information on the selling side you can input into a listing, the better. You know, most agents won't put garage length and garage size. There's clients that look for it. A lot of agents don't like to put the size of the rooms. So I'm basically 1 or 2 rooms. They don't like measure the other bedrooms. That's being lazy to me. I have buyers that have looked by the size of the other room. I got a kid that's got his own office that he's got built in with his computer station that he sets up and does his YouTube streaming on. So they need a larger size room. One of the ways they're going to search. But then just hit back. And so you can go over and you can always toggle to map. So play around with map this afternoon, this week. You can use a radius. You click and just drag. If you want to delete it, just come and delete. You can also exclude that shape. I'll give you an example of why I've excluded a shape. Had a newly married couple, it was the husband's second marriage. Second wife really effing hated first wife and did not want to live anywhere close to that choice language. And so we literally typed in the wife's address and did a 5-mile radius. And so we didn't look at any homes within 5 miles of you-know-whose house. So I've used both ways. Typically, I'm including what's in the shape. That time I happen to be excluding. 5 miles around her is a no-fly zone for this couple.
Deerfield being the center, that came from what? The previous page when you looked at Deerfield?
Yeah, and so, yeah. It knew.
I know you can get around on the map very easily.
Yeah, but since I already had one listing, it pulled me right into that listing.
Gotcha.
Yep. On the map, you can click on the little symbol and jump right over to their MLS sheet by clicking on the highlighted MLS number. But it'll give me just a brief rundown. It's active. It's priced at $685, 4910 square footage, 4 bedrooms, 5 baths. You can use the rectangle, same as the square. Just draw and drag. My favorite is the polygon because it allows you to just click where you want to pop. And then you just come back and complete it and you're good to go. Clear all shapes. You can layer them on top of each other. There is a drive time that'll allow you to search by drive time. Of okay, you put the plot where they work and he wants to be within a 30-minute drive time. I don't trust it. So let's do our office. Drive to here, arriving at 8:30 and 30 minutes on a Monday. That's not that insane. But if you're driving from Grapevine, that's depending on traffic, 30 minutes pretty, gonna be cutting it pretty damn tight. But at least might give you a starting point. So just get in, play with these tools. The more comfortable you get, the more you're able to use these to your advantage. The better you are at searching, the more stuff you're gonna help be able to find for your buyers and rule stuff out. And ultimately, that's my goal, is to rule stuff out that doesn't work. Nothing sucks worse than going and showing a house, and the second you open the door, for whatever reason, everybody realizes we are just completely wasting our time today. But here's what you'll get. I literally had a buyer walking up to the house like, oh, did not realize it was this close to a major street. No way we'll live here. Let's go take a look anyways. An hour later, we were still at that home. They were getting design ideas. It was a waste of an hour for the most part. They knew they had no intention of buying it. They just kind of were chilling, killing time. I didn't have anything better to do, right? No, I had plenty I would much rather be doing than just hanging out at a house all afternoon that they weren't even considering buying. What I should have done before I even showed them is, during that needs analysis, is said, would you ever be willing to live in a home that backed up to a fairly major street? They just said no. I could have checked on the map and I wouldn't have even shown. On me for not doing a good needs analysis. So you've got your criteria. You can also toggle over to results. So from results, you can click on the MLS sheet. You want to get comfortable with an MLS sheet. So my top section is kind of giving me the main information. It's telling me it's a residential home. You can see on top, you've got your list price, $685. What is that, $725? It's the original list price. Well, when did they make that change? Come down over here, there's a little clock underneath the picture. You click on that, it will pull up the property history. So I can see most recent in 2020, went from incoming to coming soon. Coming soon, they took it active on the 13th. On the 18th of July, they reduced it from $725 to $699. On the 30th of August, they took it from active to temporarily off the market. On 9/11/2020, they took it from temporary off the market to active. They got it under contract on the 10th, active to active option contract. But then on the 22nd, it fell back out. This can help you understand maybe that seller's motivation. You would, if I'm calling this agent, I'd want to know, why did it fall out? Did they have an inspection done? Is that report available? They have to disclose if they saw that inspection. So I may get, before we even go see it, maybe able to look at a 40-page inspection report and understand what's going on with this home. The seller's disclosure better be updated. If you have an inspection done and you're the listing agent, and then the home goes back on the market, you need to update that seller's disclosure to what you've learned. You now know probably a little bit more about a few issues going on in the house. Don't get in trouble by not updating that. Then I can see on the 12th of January, just last week, they reduced it from $699 to $685.
What are you updating on that seller's disclosure? Just saying that there was a previous inspection?
You need to put that there's a section in there that asks, in the last 5 years, have you received any written inspection reports? You absolutely need to put that.
Gotcha.
Maybe you didn't know you had hail damage on the roof and the inspector came back and let you know, or that you had flashing that was missing, or that you had an electrical issue. You're now aware of that. And that needs to be disclosed. The days of, so it is, once you've been sent the inspection report, that is considered received. There used to be agents Aaron would send me the inspection report and I would just go, no, I don't see it or hear it. I'm not opening it. So we don't have to disclose it. It doesn't work. She sends it to you, that's considered you receiving it. You now need to just, and she ends up opting out. Don't be a jackass and send an inspection report for no reason. Only send it to the listing agent if they ask for it. Don't be that their agent will always send it over, and it means that we then, if anything happens, we have to disclose it. It's just not very kosher. Now, if you hate the agent and you're having a crappy, then here you go, deal with that. And I've done it. Look, it's gotten ugly. The seller's not wanting to play ball, then here. Now I'm attaching that inspection to your house. Maybe you're going to play a little bit more ball with us now because you're not going to have to disclose everything to any other buyer. Especially if, like, you know what, Aaron, I was only asking for 2 items. Here's the whole report. There's 97 things we could have asked for. We were being nice. So either fix these 2 for us or you go back on the market and that's fine. But you now have to disclose this report that shows 97 items that are in need of repair. Good luck finding a buyer as reasonable as mine who's willing to just ask for the 2. There's different ways to get leverage. Understanding, the more you understand, the more leverage you can obtain for your clients. But so you can see the history right here in this second section where you kind of see the numbers of the house. It's a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 4 living areas, 3 stories. You don't see many 3-story homes. 2 fireplaces. All the baths are full baths, 2 dining areas. Does have a pool, no security system, no half baths. It's not in a senior community. Section here will have your square footage, garages. Square footage will always need to be cited. Where did it come from? This one came from an appraiser. So say you go out to meet with a listing and the tax records show this house at 4,500 square feet. Happens all the time, there's discrepancies. But the client goes, I know when we built this house, we built the bonus media room, those 400 square feet. I don't know why it's not on the taxes. Well, while they were living there, do you think they wanted to add 400 square feet onto their house? No. Let's keep that tax value low. But now that we're moving out, so what do I do on our team? We go ahead and pay for an appraisal. Square footage appraisal is about $150 to $200. At $140 a square foot, you think it'd be worth adding 400 square feet on? You can become a hero real quick with a seller if you can find 200, 300 extra square feet. You'll more than cover your commission. Our listing we're taking in West Plano, it's exactly the issue. Tax records showed 3,100 square feet. She had a strong inkling it was 3,400 square feet. We paid to get the square footage appraisal, it was 3,401. They hadn't added on a sunroom at some point. And so that 300 additional square feet in her neighborhood is $200 a square foot, $60,000 worth of value right there. Pretty important we find that. So I make sure my clients approve of where we're getting that number from. Number of garage spaces, carport. You can see their recent activity right here. So we see when they most recently reduced it. Schools right here, always double check them. Go directly to the school district website. Most of them have where you can punch in an address and you will find out what schools they go to. Because a lot of agents will, oh, well, I'll just pull up an old listing from the neighborhood. My parents' neighborhood, for example, they switched high schools like 5 times since I've graduated. Like I think now most of I went to Jasper High School in Plano, and now I think everybody goes to Clark High School. And so that will change over time. They redistrict stuff. Don't get that wrong. Then you have your dimensions. OCD in me, I don't figure out which part of this room is length, which is width. I don't know. Bigger number first, smaller number second. So if this room's 25 by 20, 25 by 20 instead of 20 by 25. Personal thing. The little /1 or /2, what story it's on. So somewhere they have a 3rd floor game room. Interesting. Then you can list features. Obviously, the more information you put, the more I can use to search. Like gas cooktop in the kitchen. I have clients that once they go gas, they never go back. And so they're either going to have a home that already has gas or they at least need to know it's been plumbed for gas in the kitchen. They want to buy it otherwise. I've used gas. I mean, it didn't like change my life. It was nice, but I'll get over if my dream house doesn't have gas in the kitchen, I'll get over it. But
You can afford the house, you can afford to put gas in.
that's exactly. As long as I can get my grill in the back, I don't really care about the kitchen. Then kind of all sorts of details in here. You know, common features are what the HOA has: clubhouse, greenbelt, jogging path, backyard pool features, all sorts of features, property description, public driving directions. Please don't be the lazy ass agent that just writes see Google. Now I get it, in the city, we assume that most people have an app with an app system, right? Here's the deal. You're gonna end up out in the country sometimes. Doesn't do me a lot of good when my phone gets to no bars. If you're an agent, Google allows you to download an offline map. So before you head out to the country, pull up that map and download it. Tell you a personal story. We were went hiking up in Mount Everest. Not Mount Everest, Mount Rainier. Mount Everest, that'd be quite a hike. Mount Rainier outside of Seattle, and drove on up there, had no problem getting up there, and then realized our phones had no signal. And we didn't save the downloaded map. 4 hours later, we're still driving around the damn mountain trying to figure out how the hell to get home. We just kept circling that mountain. It's a big ass mountain to keep circling. I'm pretty sure we've seen it from this side before. We finally found a little miniature hole in the wall gas station that was able to point us in the right direction, but it was not my finest moment. If I told you to download the map, I'd know where I'm going. I just wanted to see the side of the mountain again. It looks prettier now that the sun is set and it's in complete black. Private remarks. You know, if once you've gotten multiple offers and you set a deadline, private remarks is a place to put it. Private remarks are not seen by the customer, only by the agent. This is your opportunity to communicate with the other agent. Full price offer the next 30 days will include a $5,000 realtor bonus. Done stuff like that. It's the client that approves that. So I've had motivated sellers that really needed to get a home sold. So we've done stuff like that.
How do you keep that away from the buyers?
I mean, they're ultimately going to find out. I mean, as an agent, I tell my buyers typically what's in there. But it's that way, it's at my discretion. I mean, yeah, don't write anything in there that you actually wouldn't want a buyer to find out about. But it's a way to just pass on some notes that maybe the buyer won't care as much about. But private remarks. Down here, you know what you should be concerned about? BAC, Buyer's Agency Commission. How many days on the market? Cumulative. And how many days on the market? When was it originally listed? All of the agent's information. And then showing instructions down here. Listing agent to meet. Shoot me. Please provide able notices. Agent will be meeting you at the property. You will find that much more common south of 635. I'm a little surprised to see it up in Plano, but not all that shocked. But definitely south of 635, that seems to kind of be the trend down there.
Why did they do that?
They think they're so important. No, I have a bit of a probably preconceived notion of agents south of 635. Doing a deal with one right now who just is driving me insane. She's like everything I would describe an agent south of 6. Most of them are pretty cool, but they tend to sometimes have a little bit of attitude, especially working with us folks up in the burbs. You just don't get it. We're Dallas proper. We do things differently. We're very white glove down here. Then I looked her up on Facebook and was like, showed my girlfriend last night, and I was like, see, I told you she looks like I thought she would. She got a picture next to her Doberman, and they look like the exact same thing. I'm like, which is fair, because if you had asked me to describe what kind of dog she was, I'd have been like, she's probably a Doberman. Just seems fierce and angular. So I'm sure she's a sweet lady. She's a jerk on the phone. Sometimes the other agents you work with are some of the friendliest, nicest people that you become friends with, and sometimes like this lady, if we end up going under contract, it will be only text moving forward. Like, there's just no point in getting on the phone with her. The condescension in her voice, like, I don't need it, just text me. And I've done that with a couple of agents where I'm like, you know what, the best thing for us is, sounds like you're getting pretty emotional every time we get on the phone, is let's just go to text. And when you say that, they get way more emotional. It's like if you've ever gotten in a fight with your significant other and pulled the real mature move of, you know what, when you decide you want to calm down and talk about this like an adult, we will. Until then, I'm going to the bar with the boys. Wrong answer. Tried that one before. It did not work well. No fun. I think she can hear me talking about her. She's blowing my phone up now. 3 missed calls. Yay. You know what? You don't need to call a second and third time. I get it. I told her I was teaching. Get a break at 10:30. So, oh, fun. Can't wait for our break. It's the agent single line report. You can change the criteria. You can email just this listing one time. Click email, and boom, pop it out. You can print it. Here are all the different versions you can print. So myself, I always print the agent full. That will have the private remarks, everything on that page. There is a customer full view that will just take off things like the private remarks and other agents' information. I myself, I print the agent full and give it to my clients. So you're asking, like, is there anything in there that I wouldn't want the buyers? No, because I print it and give it to them. I want them having all the information. You can create a quick customer flyer. If you're going out to like do an open house, we have much better looking flyers in Command, but this is a quick and easy one. You can do a CMA on it. You can get directions. You can see stats. You can export this out, a quick CMA, or do it into Cloud CMA. So one morning we will go over Cloud CMA and how to do that. That's how I present my CMAs. It's also how I present a buyer tour. Refine, you can narrow or discard. So if I had multiple ones, I could check the ones I wanted and I could discard them, or I could narrow it to just the ones that were checked. You can save this as a saved search on your home screen. So those of you who are going to farm a neighborhood, probably going to want to save it as a saved search. But what you're going to do if you want to send this to the client, so I got the client that's interested in that home, and they're going to want to keep looking in that area. So you go to new auto email. You can create a new contact if you don't have them. This does not sync up with Command. So inside of Command, you can also run a search. Why would I want to run a search in the MLS, or why would I want to run one in Command? Anybody got a guess? So the discrepancies are going to come typically on the Command search. It's going
To follow up, to keep track of your client and their activity.
Command allows you a little bit more behind the scenes, seeing exactly when they get on, what they look at. So the way I rule it is, I meet Kevin at an open house and Kevin's telling me he's 6 months away. Just starting our search, getting a feel for everything. I'm going to set him up on Command. The Command search is going to be a little bit prettier. It's more consumer-based. Netris was never meant to be a consumer-based website. It's meant to hold data, and a lot of it wasn't meant to be pretty. So I'm going to set you up on Command. Now, let's say you came through that open house and you said, man, we're hoping to move in the next 60 days. We'd like to find our house. We're ready to start looking. Then I'm going to set you right up on the MLS. Because it's the source. My Command website, Zillow, Trulia, they all come on here, pull that data, make it pretty, and put it out there, but it's not always the most accurate. One of the reasons is those websites are built at a national level. Texas, the way we put things, if it's under contract, but we're in the option period, it's still listed as active option contract. Well, these big website portals, they only see active. They don't notice the act. We know as an agent, option contract means it's under contract. They're just in the option period. Zillow will still view it as active. Whereas I don't consider that an actual like active, anybody can write an offer on it and go under contract today because it's already got a contract. So that's why I set up on the MLS, because it's gonna give me the most accurate information. It's just not the sexiest. I'm all about sex appeal with my listings. Do I care if my client uses another website to find the homes? Not necessarily. I would love them to use this because then they can literally put a heart next to each one. Like I have a client that wants to go look at it Friday. I've set her up on a search. She's just favoriting the ones she wants to go see. So Thursday evening, I can just pull up the favorites and know exactly which ones we want to go see. So it's great. She's using it. 60% of my clients probably send me screenshots from Zillow. Would I prefer them not to use Zillow? Maybe. Do I care? Do I give them a lecture? No. So it's literally just whatever works best for them. I meet my clients wherever they need to be met. I have clients that like to text. I don't call them, I text them. I have clients that use Facebook Messenger. And I meet them wherever they want to be met. But so you create a new contact. I know I've got some. So you can set yourself up. I set myself up with like my Gmail account. You always can copy yourself on the emails. I always title it after the client. And I know the client's like, why would you call? I'm well aware of who I am. I'm gonna have multiple searches running. And since I'm copying myself, I wanna get results as soon as they come in. So maybe I'm running a search for show and I know you're busy. I know you're out traveling and I see a result come in, so home search. And I'm like, sweet, look at it. And it's, oh my gosh, this is exactly what you're looking for. I now can either go preview that or I now have a reason to reach out for you. You know, I'm big on the previewing thing. And those of you, that's part of our Ignite. We want to be previewing to learn. Kevin was doing it this weekend, but I preview for all my buyers. And so if I see one that looks really good, I know you're probably traveling, flying, got an assignment today, I'll go out to the house. I remember I had some friends, they were both teachers, hot market back in 2014, very similar to what it was today, and went to the house at about 11 o'clock in the morning. And I called them both and then sent a text, somebody needs to come meet me. Like, I don't know how you get out of school if you need to get a sub, somebody needs to, this is it. Sure enough, the husband was able to get out and take a lunch break and I guess get his class covered, ran up there, literally walked in the house 2 seconds in and was, you're right. Now I was able to trust that I was sending him to the right thing because I'd done such a good job with the needs analysis. And we're going to talk about that when we come to working with buyers, but really figuring out what do they want so that then you can confidently say, hey, I found it. This is it. Sure enough, we wrote an offer that afternoon. The wife came out that evening and they loved it. And they've been in there for about 5-6 years now. But so you title it, enable concierge mode. This is where you have to approve the listings before they go out. I very rarely click this. Gave you guys the example. The one time I would do it was when I had a client that for religious needs needed a home that faced a certain direction. There's no way to search by orientation. I have a feeling at some point that will become a searchable topic, but that way I can go in, check them against the map, make sure they face the right direction and send them out. Reverse prospecting, that allows other agents to run a search to see who has clients looking in their criteria. So if I had a $400,000 house in Deerfield, I ran a search, I would see that Ray's got a client that's got a search set up. It won't give me your client's name, but it will give you your name. So I can reach out, hey, Ray, I've got a coming soon listing in Deerfield. Want to let you know it's going live on Thursday. I'm going to hold it open on Saturday or Sunday. Feel free to let your clients know about the open house. They come in without you. That's not a problem whatsoever. We'll keep our hands off of them. Enable it as a favorite search on your home tab. I always typically for like individual buyers set up and send it ASAP. In other words, as soon as a home hits the market, it sends it out. Now, if I had run this search and we were running for a 30-mile radius, any home priced between 200 to 400,000, and basically we had 160 results, I don't want to send you 100 emails a day. So I can instead click the bottom, daily emails. Either all AM or all PM or both. Or monthly. So maybe after your clients move out, you set them up on a monthly search. Then you just hit save and it will automatically send those and set that email up. It's kind of the basic rundowns of setting up a save search. Get in, practice with the MLS, get comfortable with it, set yourself up on multiple searches. It's fun to see what is out there. Look at some house porn. Yes, ma'am.
So when you create a folder, or let's say.
The save email?
Yeah, save email. So every month you have to search again?
Nope.
Different things?
It automatic, that's why we're setting this up, exactly, so that we don't have to go in and run this search ever again.
Okay.
It will automatically be running. Yep. It will send them one of three things. It will send them new listings that are brand new on the market. We'll send them homes that came back on the market. So this listing we saw, remember it went under contract and then it came back on the market. It would then send it back to me, letting me know, hey, this home's available again. Or if they've had a price reduction, it will send me a new email just so that I see, hey, so what do I know when I see a price reduction? What inference can I make?
Does it send to you first so you can preview?
Sends them to both of us at the same time. What do I know if I see a price reduction? What do I kind of infer?
Seller motivation.
Bingo. I got a seller that's at least cognizant of the market, motivated, wants to get a deal done. But sometimes the one thing you always want to know when is that the seller kind of already doing a negotiation with themselves. Because sometimes I make a price reduction and that's kind of us like getting to our lowest point. There may not be much wiggle room off of that, at least in my seller's mind. So, but it at least shows me, hey, these folks are paying attention. Rule of thumb, 10 days with either no showings or no offers, price reduction or price correction. Especially in this hot market. If I've gone 10 days and I don't have an offer, we're overpriced. And we on our team, I don't believe in like little itty bitty price reductions. Going from 430 to 425. We got an offer at 430 if we were like close to the ballpark. After we didn't even get an offer, we need to like be knocking it down at least like 15. Like get into another group of buyers. Ideally, if like I'm at 430, I'd like to get it all the way down to like 400, depending on the market, because we may capture a whole new group of buyers. Think of how buyers think. They think in zeros, 25s, and 50s. I've gone over it. Don't be that cute agent that prices something at $399.99. What if my buyer's approved up to 500 and I start my search from 400 to 500? I missed literally seeing your awesome listing because of $1. Don't get too cute with it. So that's our Netris lesson. Went a little long on that, but I think it's totally worth it. The more you guys practice with it, it's one of the tools you use on a daily basis. Is your MLS. Yes, sir.
Question, when they took the listing off and came back on, does it show that it was with the same agent or does it?
It would be a different MLS number if it was a different agent. Yep. So you'd have seen a totally new MLS number pop up. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
I know when I did some of the previewing last week for the home like agent preview,
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of them keep sending me over and over requests out.
For feedback?
Yeah.
Typically set up, it's automatic for like 3. Yeah. So it's not, they're not spamming you. They've just set it up for automatic feedback requests. So you try to give it when you can, when I have time. Not 100%, but I try to, it's a good habit because I would like it when I get it back. But you know, I'd say probably less than 25% of my showings do I actually get feedback. You really want to get feedback, pick up the phone and call. Always, if an agent takes the time to pick up the phone and call and ask, I will always provide the feedback. Don't always have it off the top of my head. Maybe it was 3 days ago and I showed like 20 houses. But if you'll give me the address, I'll pull it up in the MLS and hopefully I'll remember. And you know what? Sometimes feedback can be, you know, I know we showed it. It was that, that I don't even like really remember it. That's I can use something with that. Okay, pretty indistinguishable features of this home.
And to remove all the listings that you're seeing from the showtime, there's no option for completed.
I'd have to look at what you're looking at. Last thing we'll do is go over, everyone know how to book the showing. So if you're not sure, this little schedule a showing. You can also call them. So that number, if you want to save it in your phone, 817 858 0055. I'm going to put that in the chat. That way, if you're on the road and you need to make a, what we call like a drive-by showing, where I'm literally like sitting out in front of the house, I can call CSS directly and book that
Hunter,
show.
I have a question. What is that? Is that only for like Collin County, like the DFW area? Like, or can you call that number if you're in like Austin or Houston or something along those lines?
Different number down in Austin and Houston.
There's a separate number. Okay. I just wanted to check with you. Okay.
In the North Texas area.
Okay. Gotcha.
But so if I'm online, I click on this little, kind of looks like a mile per hour gauge or clock. I can add the showing card if I want to go add a few more. So I've got 4 or 5 homes I want to go see, or I can just hit schedule a single showing. And then it will pop up and give me. So it shows me that if I want to book in this spot, it's a little too soon. They will try to set it up, but no guarantees. In other words, these folks have requested at least an hour's advance notice. If it's blacked out, it means somebody's either showing it or they've put a showing restriction on it. Some listings right now, especially because of everything going on, have blocked where you can have overlapping showings. I typically allow multiple showings. The closest I've gotten to like getting in a fight with another agent was when it was 110 degrees and we had a showing booked. So did 2 other agents, and this one agent and her clients decided to lock the door and not let anybody else in to show it. That's not your decision as the buyer's agent. If the listing allowed multiple people to view the home from 2 to 2:30, then they're saying we are okay with multiple people being in here. So we kind of just snuck in the back door and walked on in. She was not very happy. I go, look, I got 4 other showings today. It's 110 degrees outside. We are not going to stand out there in that heat waiting on you guys to sit. They were just sitting at the kitchen table, just having their conversation. Wow, we got 3 groups just melting in the heat, and I got multiple showings to get to that day that are getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. If you are getting pushed back, you want to call CSS and let them know, hey, I'm running 30 minutes late to my next showings, and they'll push everything back for you and notify those sellers. You don't want to show up 30 minutes late and the sellers are at home and totally thought you had already come by and shown, and she's walking into the shower as you're punching in the code, walking into her house. So if you're showing up after the schedule, you need to make sure that they know you're coming. But you pick when you would like. So let's go see it today at 5:15. May take us 30 minutes. Buyer's name, you can add them in. Add a note if you want for the listing rep, and then just hit request appointment. It will show you up here, this one is appointment required. Wait for confirmation. In other words, you don't go show it until you've been told you're good to go. Sometimes they're what we call go-in shows. Means you book it, you're good. Typically a vacant listing. hey, we just want you to go on, book it so that we have a record of who's shown it, but you're immediately approved. Or courtesy call, same thing, it's just we're gonna call the seller and let them know, but you're good to go. But do not go until you've gotten that appointment confirmed.
Did you get an email saying that you're?
Yep, you'll get an email and they'll call you. So that's why I saved that number, so I know that that's CSS calling, okay, they're confirming my appointment. Groovy, any other questions? Cool, it is 10:25, let's take a break till 10:40. I'm gonna go deal with the Doberman Pinscher. I say that with love, I'm sure she's a nice lady, I can't wait to do a deal with her. Online folks, we will be back in 15 minutes.
Hey, where'd you hide CGI?
I will send you the link.
Please do.
I meant to do that yesterday.
Yeah, I sent a note to you.
Yep, I'll get that over to you. I think it's cgi.kw.com, but I'll make sure of that.
I've got to go see my heart surgeon.
Okay, I'll get that to you. Keep that ticker ticking, man.
Man, I'm trying, but it's not doing what it took me to do.
My phone was not allowing me to get on Metris.
Your phone doesn't? I haven't tried it on my phone yet.
Yeah, no, that's the way I was thinking. I was trying to go look at, okay, so I'm going to need multiple, places.
You can download the showing app. Once you have all the showing that you want, say you want 5 homes, you're showing, and then you pick which one you want to see first, second, third, organize it.
Yeah, but I have to ask permission of some of the places like, that are vacant. I gotta ask each one. What
You
are you
have to
saying?
request it all at the same time. You pick your time slot,
Right,
once you pick it, and then you send a request. And then usually the one that's vacant is like automatic, they'll just approve you. And they'll tell you at the top. You know how
so
that,
you didn't look, you didn't try to find, I was trying to find a place where it says preview instead of showing.
I put agent preview.
Do it through Showtime? Showtime? Yeah, I played with it yesterday for a while. I was trying to get, of course, I went to that one. That's why it took me so long just to get to one. Because I also had to wait for the guy to, the agent eventually, at about an hour and a half, texted me, good to go.
Hi, Jason, it's.
Yeah, I just,
Chloe. I was.
Been checking out all the vacant one because, yeah, some of them were like, the agent has to come open or show you and all that stuff.
Right.
And some of the units are like older, they have the super box, but it's not activated yet, so they have the old box with the master key on there. So you have to put the code, whatever, for
Hi, Michelle, it's Michael Zep.
it's kind of a combination lock. And then it opens the thing, and then you get the key. So I tried opening one and it didn't open. I was there for like 10 minutes, and I can't get this open.
I spent about 15 minutes trying to figure out how to get it.
That's why I was answering how to cancel, because once you click the show, it just shows up on your list. It's not there. So then cancel,
Sorry.
I normally just see one of them, and then the agent comes right away,
Yes.
they canceled it. She goes, it shows that you were the last one there, the door is open. I was like, well, I canceled it because I've been parking more because it's resident opening, the sign got towed. I'm like, I don't want Jessica towed.
Yeah,
Yeah, so then she's like, oh, I think she just seen why it didn't go in or whatever. So then the agent's like, yeah.
yeah,
I'm like, are you fishing me?
yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. What it's all like.
Okay. Afternoon works better, tomorrow's Wednesday, I think it's after. So that's too far away to see. Yeah, that. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Sounds good. All right, thank you. Have a good one. Thanks.
Remember his name. That's what I hope. She didn't come out of. So how did you find the open house stuff? Was that posted or you just?
No, I had asked my coach, so I coach with Laura, and I just wanted to like shadow someone doing one, and so she just found that Shayla was doing one, so I met her up there.
I thought I signed up for coaching. I may have hit the wrong button. I don't know. I think I'll go after class today.
Figure it out.
Figure that part out.
Yeah.
Somehow, for me, it's just the task list was quite long. So I'm doing bits and pieces. But it's,
There's a lot.
there's just so much. And I actually tried the, create my web page, my Facebook page.
Uh-huh. The business page or just your regular?
Business page.
Yeah, I did that this weekend too.
And I'm like going, just the about piece, I'm like going, I looked at like, I must have looked at 6 or 7 different agents,
Mhm.
what they had in theirs.
Yeah,
I finally sent a blurb over to a friend of mine who's, her husband and I've been friends for 20 plus years. And she was marketing for a while.
Mhm.
I said, what do you think? And she emailed me back about 11 o'clock last night. I didn't get it this morning, but try this. And it was perfect. I was like, there's a reason why you were marketing for,
right.
because she took what I had, which was kind of, and it sounded great, so
Yeah.
but, just doing it the first time.
No, I'm like, what do I put as my cover photo? Like.
Oh, the banners, the next thing, and then, I found that there's a young lady that's already farming the area,
You want a farm?
and I want to farm. And she actually sent out letters with marketing. So I'm like going, and she doesn't have a Facebook page, but she's got a great webpage.
Mhm.
So she looks like she's been working for a while, this entire Collin County's northern, the Van Alstine, Melissa area already.
Yeah,
But, so I'm like going, so I know my competition, she's working for Compass, or Compian. So she sent out, the big cover,
uh-huh,
and then her letter,
yeah.
and then here's her data. 2 pages back to front, I'm like going, at least I know what,
You got some data there.
yeah, I mean, so I'm like, because I'm thinking about, okay, so what's the value?
Yeah.
What's to me reading this, because I know 3 other people in the neighborhood got this. I think she did the whole
Neighborhood.
in Town Square.
Yeah.
I think she mailed it out to everybody.
Yeah,
So it's interesting to see how other,
agents do it.
yeah, that's now.
Yeah.
Your tablet is also, what's your tablet?
Okay.
Side back? I don't wanna-
Yeah, because I do a split screen, so I can see and I can take notes. Just do both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't want that either. So you guys have been on a Zoom this whole time?
Yeah, we were last week.
Okay. First name?
Gary.
Gary?
I'm Josh.
Josh?
I'm Marshall.
Marshall?
So that's good, Josh.
Thanks for the help.
That's, interesting.
Yeah, I have
I really don't want to do that. I don't want to buy it until after a transaction. It's like wondering how long I'm gonna wait.
to what?
But
Get down,
Yeah, until after you get your.
because I mean, my agent that sold me, not sold me, but that worked for me when I bought my built house. That's what she walked. She walked around with a Hardy tablet and she had everything at her fingertips.
yeah.
Because the laptop's a little bit too bulky
Mhm.
and she could, but
This is a smaller one. There's a one with a slightly bigger screen. Like that.
Yeah.
That will probably be easier.
in hers, she had a bright fluorescent orange
Yeah.
case.
Yeah,
It was hilarious to look at, but it,
easy to spot, you're like, there it is.
and she's actually out of Austin though.
Austin?
She was a family friend of, and so she would come up here. And this will build, so she really didn't do much. So,
Yeah, because that family in Texas, put a part of Texas, and I want to help them do, they sell their house, like for family members. But I don't know, I have to figure out their MLS, how to get on theirs.
yeah, that's my only comment. I don't know anybody.
A lot of people I know, they're out of state because they travel.
Yeah.
All the time. Then we talk about who's traveling here, you know, age. People are traveling here all the time. Like with the airline and all that stuff. And then asking each other, hey, I want to move there. So we send them their card and all that stuff.
Well, that's the, well, last time about this weekend was so literally what I'm getting out of what you said back was call the Market Center, talk to the team lead, which is for us, it's Sarah. So I talked to the team lead for the Market Center, at Fort Meade, and then have the team lead help me find agents that's right for the person that lives with her.
Okay. Yeah, because they were telling me how they were going for it out and stuff. I talked to another one of my friends, she goes, they've been here for a long time. Why you could pay 75% of your commission and then just do it, because it's like my mom's house, or my aunt's house, my uncle's house. So there's like 5 people, 5 people, and then she goes, unless you just want the 25%. So she says that's up to you. Because in the beginning, she said it's slow anyway, so you can do this. So I don't know, there's different ideas. I'm like, that's true.
They're just in the.
It's like I can get like pretty much 100% commission from that.
Well, if it's in Texas,
That's in Texas.
and realistically, you can do, because of technology, you can do so much of it online. So you may only have to only have to plan a trip strategically to go down.
I don't mind coming down.
Yeah, so you
For me, it's easy, I can just apply. It's like, if I can
that's just big enough for that. So.
yeah,
And you actually have an advantage.
I have an advantage, I can just hop on a flight and go places, so it's nice. And I have some.
That actually gets you, if it's a Keller Williams office down there, you can really make relationship building with the Keller Williams office, wherever each party of the family member is.
I would just do it just for there, just opening up maybe a family and all that, but I'll just do those right here. So that was thinking because it's like.
I was almost thinking about referrals in the future.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah, I guess.
I'm just thinking of the relationship building is, it just gives you another opportunity.
To a small town and everybody just tell each other and all that stuff.
Just gives you another, yeah, just gives it.
It is growing. These needs out there. I have a couple of friends who want to live there. So they're like, oh, right now it's not the market for that. It's like, where do you want to go? Because they already had properties before. So now they want like flippers. So like, when you see one, it's like, no. It's like, well, tell me what you want.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the,
they just want flipper homes. Negotiate a little bit out here. Because, you know, everyone's selling. right now.
I'll tell you, the house that I just saw in Dallas.
Well, you got lines through.
It's one of those where if I had to make some assumptions, it's neighbors, but it looks like they just left. There's some things that are still there, but it needs love. So it's a fixer upper. Exactly what I was saying. The master, pink walls. Yeah.
Change that.
Yeah. So in the backyard, you have a facility where they had dogs, and probably large dogs, because they had grounds kind of chewed up, but also they had electrical, short electrical lines, so you know, to stop a dog from going through. So you can really tell. And everything is just like, if you look at the whole house is there, floors need to be freshly cleaned. And then the backyard is pretty done. So it looks like it's what's on the house. So if you find a buyer that wants to put some money in, that's it. Because the neighborhood's great. Most of it was good. So. Wasn't that good?
Place that you don't want
Real quick, gonna send this offer over for signatures. We'll do a whole DocuSign class, but what I'm about to do is download this offer, upload it into DocuSign, and attach signatures to it. Should not be that difficult to do. And download.
We are also gonna have a class on that, the homekeeper thing, because I'm getting emails from them. No idea what to do with them.
The office is going to probably provide some training on that. Add from computer.
I consistently get an email from them. Keller Williams email.
I'm going to send it as an envelope. Add recipient. Rebecca Foster, add selected. Next. And what I'm doing is I'm adding where I need my client to initial. Adding in where I want notices to be sent to. Seller. Signature. I'm gonna go, what's today's date? The 19th. Nineteenth day of January. 2021. Rock and roll. Hit send. And text my client.
And a part of the class now.
Yep, sent for signature. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you guys for a little patience there. That's how easy DocuSign can be though. We'll practice and make sure you guys are there. That took what, less than 3 minutes? So you want to get to that point. Reason why I wanted that sent over so quickly is I know this agent's been so wishy-washy. I've got something I can put our signatures on, get it back to her, and we now have an executed contract. At the very least, she decides to opt out at this point, she's got to pay my seller the option fee. So I'm at least locking that in for my seller. So that the longer I wait, the more chance they might go out and find another house and decide they want to pull that offer. She's got her hand out. So you've always got to be cautious of when your hand is out. And that's the way I view the offer is, so Kevin, if you're the seller and I'm the buyer and I make an offer to you, it's me sticking my hand out. We have a few options. We can shake hands or we can elbow. It's 2021. So we can, I'm gonna extend my elbow. You can either elbow me back. In other words, say, hey, good deal. That's what I just did. So I elbowed her back. You can also just shove my elbow away. That's what we did with one offer that just wasn't even in the ballpark. We just shoved it away. We're good. Nope. And no counter. In other words, your offer didn't even, as far as my seller was concerned, didn't even elicit the time to counter it back. The third option is you can shove my elbow back, but put your elbow out and say, hey, let's bump elbows, but I want to bump it at this price. And so you as an agent always need to know when is your elbow or when is your hand out. Don't have your hand out multiple times. In other words, if this agent, she's been showing other houses, if she's written up another offer, she's going to be up S Creek here in an hour when my offer comes back signed and executed, and maybe the other offer she sent out also executes. So always know when your hand is out. When you want it pulled back, pull it back. I am in the habit of, even if it's a multiple offer situation, and you submit an offer and you submit an offer, we go with Aaron's offer, then I always send it, once I send you an email, hey, Kevin, just wanted to let you know we've accepted another offer. Really appreciate your clients. Good luck in your home search. I send back an email saying, hey, thanks so much. I just want to officially rescind our offer. And I'm like, well, you don't need to do that. The hell I do. Because I've had it happen to one of my agents in coaching about 15 days after they submitted an offer and lost in an offer, multiple offer situation, gets a call from an agent and says, you can drop off the earnest money at the title company and send the option fee our way. They're going, what are you talking about? They're going, well, the other offer fell through, and so we decided to execute yours. Dirty, legal. Sometimes the legal thing ain't always the right thing. I would never be that agent. I would always pick up the phone and say, hey, Kevin, I know you guys submitted 15 days ago. Just want to let you know it fell through with the current buyers. If your client's offer still stands, we'd love to do a dance with you. And he may say, yeah, that totally works. Let's get that done. Or obviously, we probably need to make at least some changes. Our closing date's going to be a little bit different because we've lost 2 weeks. And I'm sure you're still going to want to get an inspection and have a normal timeline. But so I always confirm. So always understand when is your hand out and when is a hand out at you. And make sure that you only have one hand out. I can only think of one time I had a client that we had opted out of a house. She had to move before the school year started to get her daughter into the school district. Part of her divorce decree was that the daughter would be in the school district. So we went out on a Tuesday afternoon and wrote 8 offers sight unseen, all at the same time. And we got 2 of them back accepted. She understood that any offer we got back accepted, she was writing an option fee check to. So one of the home, we went and looked at the 2 that we had gone under contract on for the first time, and decided which one we liked and wrote an option check fee for both of them. And then when I handed over the option fee check to the one we didn't want, I also handed over the termination. Agent wasn't very thrilled with that, but it is what it is. And move forward on the other one. So if you can opt out within that first 3 days, you don't have to deliver the earnest money, but you do have to pay that termination option, because the termination option is what allows your buyer the unrestricted right to terminate a contract. It has to be for compensation. So it needs to be $10 or more. That is especially true if you have to extend the option. Let's say this deal, I've got a 5-day option. Let's say they're doing the inspection on Friday. So if we execute it today, The first day of that option period is technically tomorrow. So our option for 5 days will go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Her option expires at the end of Sunday. However, maybe the inspection on Friday reveals an electrical issue and they really want an electrician out there, but the electrician can't come out until Monday. She needs to extend the option by sending me an amendment and putting compensation. It needs to be for at least $5 a day on the extension. I'd make it 10 to be safe. We've seen agents that did an extended option and just put 0. And the state of Texas has ruled against them, saying you did not actually have the option because you did not put compensation down. So you must buy that option. And so it ended up going into court. Yeah, the judge said, no, you do not have the right to opt out of this contract. You did not have an option period because you did not actually pay for it. You asked for it, you said how many days you wanted, but you provided no compensation. So literally when I've extended the option and I've had agents, the other agent on the other side argue with me, I'm like, I don't give a damn. I'm bringing you a $10 bill. And I need you to receipt it. Because I'm putting compensation, well, you don't need to do that. Like, no, but I do. So don't let another agent tell you if you've been told to do something, do it. It comes from an actual legally binding court case where we've determined that. Doesn't mean that every agent is up to date and stays informed on those things. So that is how you handle that. So cool. We're going to dive in and talk a little bit today about understanding your value. Your value proposition. In other words, your elevator speech. If you and I are riding on an elevator and we're going from the 1st to the 10th floor, in other words, we got about 30 seconds. How are you going to explain to me what your value is? What separates you from another agent? Why should I want to do business with you? Understanding your value proposition is huge. It's literally what does separate you. I was at a family reunion, and one of the things people do at family reunion is we sit in these rooms getting ready to watch the panel, and you'll see agents walk by with a stack of cards, just going, take your Dallas referrals, take your Dallas referrals, take your Dallas referrals, take your Dallas referrals. And I'll never forget, one of the guys doing this, the guy I'm sitting next to, like, grabs the dude's hand. Ooh. That was aggressive. And he goes, why? He goes, excuse me? He goes, why would I send my referrals to you? He goes, well, I'm in Dallas, I pay it 25. I get where you live. Why? How will you help my client? What service do you provide? Do you work with first-time home buyers? Do you work with luxury buyers? Do you work with investors? I don't even know anything about you. Because I'd rather you spend 5 seconds talking to every one of us explaining your value rather than handing out 100 cards, have 10 meaningful conversations. I'm much more likely to send you a referral. I know you and I understand your value. Same thing with a client. Why should they? Just because you're in real estate, why should they work for you? Well, part of that is understanding what does an agent want? Or what does a potential buyer want in an agent? And so that's kind of what we're going to go over before we call it a day today. So we talked about growing your business versus running your business. Still really focused on the grow your business. It's all about the lead generation. It's obviously number one. You're in 2 businesses, lead generation and real estate. So define your value. So we're not going to do it in class, but we're going to work on crafting a simple and precise description of the benefits for the client. In other words, who is your ideal client? I was reading a post by a gentleman who runs the real estate website Curator. Like he said, the cost of acquiring a client outside of your niche, the cost of closing a client outside of your niche is way more than the ones in your niche. It's more stressful working with clients that are out. So if you understand what is your ideal client? Who could describe to me what your ideal client's going to look like? You ever thought about that? We try to be all things to everybody, right? Well, everyone's my ideal client. To hell they are. A lot of people I don't want to work with. It's not enjoyable to me. I get nothing out of it. I'm not big on investors, to be honest with you. Not my thing. The investors I've worked with have wasted a lot of my time. I write up a lot of crappy offers. I get yelled at by a lot of listing agents for throwing up crappy offers. And I'm not so sure how cool I am with like people profiting off of like people needing a house. I get it. But like we talked about this morning, there's so many homeless people, and yet I'm gonna get excited about helping somebody buy their 10th, 11th, and 12th house. That's just personally, that doesn't fill me with a ton of joy. Fills me with joy, first-time home buyer. I love first-time home buyer. That makes me feel good, helping someone get into a home. So should I build my business to try to attract investors or first-time home buyers? Yeah. Why would I don't enjoy working with investors? Would I hold an investor seminar? No. Will I work with some personal friends that want to invest and purchase a second home? I will. But I don't go out and try to attract them. Part of my value proposition is not, hey, I'm awesome at working with investors. Let's be real, I'm not. I love first-time home buyers, move-up buyers, helping people get into their dream homes. I'm not big on investors. That's a personal decision. I know other folks that they love investors. Those of you with the sparkling, bubbly personality, that may not be the best fit for an investor. Investors tend to be about, like my dad, he works with a lot of the investors on our team. Those of you who have met him, he's not the bubbly, fun-loving guy. Most of my friends who growing up thought my dad wanted to like beat the ass out of them. As my dad said, it's not that I don't like your friends, it's just they're 15. Why would I care? I don't know, because like you're a human, be normal. You think he's a really nice guy, he's got an amazing sense of humor. You just probably aren't going to see it that often. Remember, like, he's a pretty straight and narrow, grew up in a military family. And I remember we were walking Vegas one night and I asked him, I was like, and this dude comes stumbling out of a bar and I was like, you ever been that drunk? He was like, yeah. I was like, am I ever going to see you like that? He goes, not if I can help it. And about 2 years later, we were at a work convention and an older gentleman who I know well, whose son is in the business with him, was getting kicked out of a bar. And I remember my dad looked at me and he goes, remember that conversation in Vegas? Still want to see me like that? No, I do not. It was kind of embarrassing to watch my buddy have to literally help carry his dad into an elevator. But so my dad works better with investors. My mom is the bubbly, you probably haven't met her yet. I can tell you the second she walks through the doors of the office. Like while I'm in here teaching, not the doors of our, I could literally hear her like the second she opens the door outside. You think I'm loud, wait till you meet my mother. And she's got a Southern accent. So it is, hi, and you hear it. I don't hear the accent, you'll hear the accent. I've gotten used to it, I suppose. But she's the personality of the team. So would she be a great fit to work with our investor clients? Typically, no. Her mom works with your more traditional families. And so it's understanding what you want your ideal client to be so that you can build your value proposition to service your ideal client. My first 2 years, I tried to be everything to everybody. And I worked with a lot of people that I did not enjoy the process. Once I made a decision on what my ideal client was and built my business to attract my ideal client, I found that most of the people I worked with were the kind of people I wanted to be in business with. They were the kind of people I enjoyed the transaction. I'm dealing with Doberman lady, right? But the seller on my end, we're having a good old laugh about it. I get upset when I'm on the phone with that lady, but then I talk to my client, and by the end of the conversation, we're laughing. Apparently, she knows Doberman lady. Walks around the neighborhood with her dog, and she says she walks like she's got a stick up her, like a Doberman does. But we had a good laugh. Because we had fun. These are the kind of clients that I want to become friends. It's great for me working with friends. Others of you will never want to work with friends. But that's okay. You got to figure it out. Who is your, so before we can figure out our value, we got to figure out who we want to work with. You get to choose. You are a business owner. You do not have to work with everyone. And I know that's tough to realize year one. We're tempted to take any business. There's something fun about firing your first client and deciding you don't work well with me. These are not my standards. Had a gentleman, an investor, Wanted to see a house on a Friday at 6 o'clock. I get there at 6. He shows up at 6:45. Told him, if you do this again, we will not be working together. Next weekend, want to see a house at 7 o'clock. I'm sitting there at 7. He doesn't show up. I waited. We got there at 7:30. And then I let him know we were no longer working together and drove off. And damn, that felt good. Because you know what? If he can't respect my time, then I don't want to do business with you. And you are an independent contractor. You can make those decisions. Don't let people run you over. Don't let them take time if they're not serious. You got a buyer that wants to go look at 20 homes and they are not willing to go get pre-approved. We ain't doing it, chief. I'll show you 2 or 3. I'll go out, we'll get you excited. We're not going out a second time until we've sat down with the lender and have a plan in place to either get approved or are approved. That's a personal business. You get to make those decisions. But yes, year one, you're going to probably, like most of us, try to be all things to everyone. And some of you will hopefully quickly learn that it's a heck of a lot more fun and you're going to find a heck of a lot more success by working with the people that you choose to be in business with. Who do you think I get more referrals from? The first-time home buyers that I'm actually excited to work with, or the investors who probably can tell right away, this ain't it, chief? Third time I've used this ain't it, chief. That sounds good. This ain't it, chief. I'm a tough guy now. Sorry, the Doberman just got me going this morning. My girlfriend was like, you seem to really enjoy negotiating. Well, it's actually my least favorite. I hate the part. That's the part of this job I hate. I just want us all to be happy. Can we be happy? Your buyers are getting a really good house. Let's be excited. But so you got to know, who is it I want to work with? And then how do I clearly convey what you will do to earn the fee for your fee you charge? Why are you worth 3%? What do? Do you just put a home on the MLS? Or do you proactively market to find buyers and to proactively market towards the agent? You go out and proactively door knock on homes. What do you do to earn that fee? There's so much that goes into it, but you have to understand your value. You've got to believe in it. Promise you, once you do a deal, you'll understand why we get 3%. There's a hell of a lot that goes into it. It's a lot more than just putting a home on the MLS. It's coordinating all these things. It's Sunday night or Monday night, being on the phone at 9:30. I think the most fun thing to be doing. And it's going that extra mile for your clients. I had a client this weekend. She's an 83-year-old lady. We needed copies of the keys made. I can tell her, like I do most of my clients, hey, run up to Home Depot, go get some copies made, and I'll pick them up later this week. But she's waiting on getting her vaccine. We're not selling her house until she's moved out. She's legitimately concerned. She's got some health issues. She's 83 years old. If she gets this virus, it could do some serious damage. Do I need to have her running up to Home Depot to get some keys made? No. I ran up there, got the copies made myself while we were meeting this weekend. Will I do that for every client? Probably not. Although in the middle of a pandemic, if that's where their level of comfort is, absolutely. It's doing those little things. The client that I'm getting under contract, she needs stuff moved out of her garage. I'm heading down there this evening, meeting her. We'll be hauling off some glass. She does a lot of glass artwork. It's heavy as hell. A bunch of heavy machines we got to move. It's not going to be a fun night for me, but man, I don't mind going the extra mile for her. Because she's the kind of client I want to work with. And when I work with those kind of clients, I get it back tenfold. The other listing I'm having is her mother. Because I've done such a good job with her. Well, why have I done a good job with her? Because she is what I want to work with. She is the kind of business I want to do. And then covenant, make your value proposition and a covenant between you and your client. Inside the listing presentation is literally like my promise to you that I will go that extra mile, that I will answer the phone call late at night if I need to, that I will come over and help you move stuff, that I will go get those copies of the keys made. One of my value propositions is I will make this fun. There are many agents that say, I'm going to make this fun. That's part of my value. We're going to make this enjoyable. We're going to laugh about Doberman lady. We're going to enjoy this process. We're going to, it's stressful. It's an emotional thing, but if I can make it an enjoyable thing, I want it something that my clients remember, that they enjoy the process, that it's something they had fun with. Because I know that if they do, and I know you don't think of real estate as being something that's fun, but it should be. We're going out, we're looking at new homes that they're going to get to build their lives in. I help them envision what would life look like in this house. Man, look at this backyard. We could have an amazing barbecue. We could throw that housewarming party where I'll bring over a couple kegs and a couple of pork butts and we'll have some barbecue sandwiches and drinks and beer. It's going to be such a fun house. But so understand your ideal client and then understand the value you provide and tie those together and build kind of a 30-second elevator speech of what it is you do, who you like working with, and how you're going to service them. So 3 aspects of service. The purpose, knowing the underlying purpose of the real estate profession to help people with their real estate goals. What are their goals? Some folks, the goal is to grow wealth through real estate. Other folks, it's to have a home. Those are different goals. I've helped clients buy houses that, that's why the investors to me aren't the most fun. They buy houses they don't care about. Whereas my clients that are going to live in them, they care about the home. They're not so concerned. It's just a wealth building mechanism. It comes with it. The nice thing is even the ones that don't want it are going to gain wealth through it, but it's not their goal. The value proposition, having communicated clear sense of how you deliver on that purpose of helping them realize their real estate goals. And then fiduciary, exhibit a continual drive to put your client's needs above all else. That's, you don't let your commission get in the way. I know agents that avoid showing homes that come with less than a 3% commission. I don't care. I don't even look. I showed you guys what that BAC, the buyer's agency commission is. I don't ever look. When I write the offer, if it was a $1 commission, that's all I'm charging. On personal decision, I will never ask for my buyer to make up the difference. Now, if things change and it becomes way, way less common to get 3%, I may revisit that approach. But that's a personal decision. You will see some lower BACs from time to time. You decide whether, A, you need to show it. If it meets your client's criteria and you don't show it because of that, you're violating your fiduciary responsibility. You're allowing your commission to get in the way. And if you then ask them to bring up the money, that's your decision to make. It's built into the buyer's representation agreement. I get paid 3%. I will make every attempt possible to get that 3% from the seller. However, if I'm unable to get it from the seller, I remain reserve the right to ask them for that 3%. When they sign the buyer's rep, I explained to them I would never do that. That's a personal choice. You may choose to do different. That's totally fine. There's not a right or wrong there. It's what feels right to me. So what is the underlying purpose of real estate? For buyers, it's about finding them the right home at the best price and the right time with the least amount of problems. For sellers, it's about netting them the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of problems. But net you more, quicker, and hassle-free. Buyers, I'm going to find it, get it under contract, and get you into your home. Buyers are more concerned with, can you get access to information? One of the biggest values you can bring is finding them the right home. And providing them, it's not even finding them the right home. We're going to go over some numbers here before we leave that will show you a lot of buyers these days are finding the home themselves. And so if that was your value, because I know a lot of agents for years, their value was the MLS. That was it. They didn't really offer much else other than, I don't know, I'll find you a home by searching on the MLS. These days, most of my buyers find their home first. They're the ones searching Zillow night and day. Who's searched for a home themselves recently in the last couple of years? Did you get pretty comfortable with Zillow?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I really hate it. Yeah, oh, yeah. I mean, they recently hated, they're literally trying to put us out of business. Like they would love nothing more than to have a bunch of robots doing our job. They've become a licensed brokerage in almost every state. However, that's where consumers go. But the consumers are going to they're finding their own home. So what other information can you find? Are you picking up the phone and talking to the agent? Are you getting a copy of the seller's disclosure? Are you providing history of the neighborhood? Are you explaining why this side of town may be worth more than that side of town? Are you providing them the crime statistics? Are you providing them a resource to look up the schools? If the value was just, I can access the MLS, well, that ain't good enough anymore. That ain't it, chief. That ain't it. I'll get a t-shirt made up. But so sellers, they've shown they care a little bit more about you as a person. You're going to have a key to my house. You're going to be holding it open on weekends when I'm not there. You're going to be letting complete strangers into my home. Kind of want to get to know you a little bit more. I know a lot of agents, once they get some experience, will create 2 websites. A buyer-based website where it barely mentions them. Allows them to search for homes and get that information. And then a seller-based website, which is a lot more about them. The front of the website's their pretty picture and all about them and get to know them. And here's my dog and here's what I like to do for fun. And here's how I can help you. So it's understanding what a client's looking for and what the value is that you provide. So what happens to your client's buying or selling experience if you don't understand that this is the underlying purpose of real estate? Well, their experience is lacking. If all I'm doing is searching and doing the bare minimum, then they're looking at that commission on the day of closing going, what the hell? Oh my God, I cannot, anybody that's closed a house ever looked at that commission and thought, what the hell? When you looked at the commission your agent paid, what'd you think? Quite a bit? Do you feel like they earned it?
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be worth it.
Yeah. I don't hide how much I get paid. I point it out at the closing. That's my commission. Because I know I have gone that extra mile. I've delivered on the promises I made up front and then some. And I earned it. For every easy client I get 9 more that drive me up a wall sometimes. That's okay. I'm going to earn that commission. I'm going to go that extra mile so that I can proudly get that check. I've never cashed a check that I felt like I didn't earn. You'll hear me in coaching when I meet with you guys and we sign a contract. I will tell you, and I mean it, and the office can explain to you I do. If you were in my coaching program and you feel like you closed a deal and I didn't provide you what I told you I would provide you, you just let myself or the office know and I will not get paid on it. I had an agent that I helped write an offer. She didn't sign the coaching contract, so I hadn't actually been coaching her. Sent me a text 2 weeks ago, said, hey, I noticed on my CDA you're not on there. So my understanding was you didn't want to be in coaching. She goes, but you still helped me with this offer. I go, no, I'd love to have you in the coaching where I actually met with you, but that one's on me. That's free. Me, it's do the right thing. It'll come back to me tenfold, and if it doesn't, I'm okay. I go to bed, I put my head on the pillow, and I sleep well. I would hate to be that kind of agent that cuts every corner, does shady things. I like sleep. I like it a lot. And like my girlfriend will tell you, when my head hits that pillow, I'm out, man. Like I'm able to turn it off because I know I've done the right thing, that I've done what I told my clients I would do, that I didn't leave things untied, that I've gone that extra mile for them, that I've gone the back for them, that I've understood the value and gone about doing it. So it's significant. The one phrase shared with buyers and sellers with the least amount of problems. Whether I'm working with the buyers, I'm going to help you purchase a home with the least amount of hassle. If I'm working with a seller, I'm going to help you sell your home with the least amount of hassle. There's a ton of hassle. You guys ever seen that drawing of a duck? So if you see a duck on top of the water, what's it look like? When it's just gliding effortlessly, right? Have you ever seen what a duck looks like under the water? There, paddling like crazy. That's me. I'm your webbed feet. Well, the last name, it works. I'm tripping over the chair. But I'm your webbed feet. I'm below the water. I am just working my little tail off so that the transaction can just do this. And I'm putting that hard work in, but I don't call my client. That agent last night, we laughed about her being a Doberman, but I spent literally probably 4 hours on the phone with her total yesterday. One of the least friendly people I've ever dealt with. I don't bring that to my client. There's no point in bad-mouthing that agent to the client. And then now my clients like me. So if I don't like someone and I tell them that, what do you think my client's now gonna do? They're not gonna like them. You ever have like a friend talk trash about someone you've never even met, but then when you meet them, you kind of like asshole. They're being rude to your friend. You like your friend. Yeah, I try to keep my emotion out of it with my clients. I mean, I'm not dealing with it. I'm paddling like hell to get this deal done. My client will never know how, she'll never know what the hell went on yesterday. And that the offer I just sent her over to get signed, like, I was yelling in my car, whoa, got this done. Because I told you yesterday at 3 p.m, there's no way this is coming to fruition. But I kept going back and forth with this agent, sending her over comps, discussing this point. Well, my client knows I sent her the offer she wanted this morning. Took a lot to get there. There are times my clients have no clue like how close we came to not closing. Title needed this document, this needs to be checked, and we're waiting on this, and this needs to be done. And you're doing it all. And the client's just thinking they show up on Friday and we close the deal. And that's my goal. I want it to be a fun experience. Let me deal with the crap. There's plenty of it. That's what I'm here for, to handle that hassle. So value proposition. So speaking of value proposition, let's define what that is exactly. Your value proposition distills your service offerings into a succinct act of benefits for your client. It states what you do for the client to earn your commission and helps to explain the complexity of what you do. It also helps hold you accountable to high standards. I like that last line. It also holds you accountable to high standards. You say you're going to do it, you got to do it. That's why every time I get off the phone with a client, I always leave myself, what am I going to do next? Hey, Kevin, it was great catching up for you. Keep a lookout in your mailbox. I'm going to drop something in there for you in the next couple of days. What do I now have to do? I've set myself up that I better put something in the mailbox. You say you're going to do it, you better do it. And that's providing yourself a level of accountability. As we reflect on this definition, what did you see the value of your value proposition? Why is it important enough to be included in our 3 aspects of service? Having a strong value proposition helps your clients understand your value and expertise, protects your commission, and builds strong and trusting relationships. So one of the biggest questions I always get in Ignite is, especially when we start talking about selling, is what do I say when they ask about my commission? If you do this part right, they'll never ask. You can accurately explain your value. They won't ask, they see it. By the time I'm done going over what we do to list their homes and how we're going to proactively be reaching out to all the agents that have helped home buyers in the last 2 years purchase. Now we're going to have an agents only open house and a broker preview and open houses every weekend and get professional 360 tours and video tour and drone tour. And we're going to market your home on Facebook to not just buyers locally, but internationally. By the time I'm done going through that, I've done my job. There should be no question. The question should be, should I charge them 3%, 4%, 5%? I know agents that have what we call a car wash listing presentation. Starts at you pay me 3% and goes up to you pay me 5%. And that comes because they understand their value. Agents that give away their commissions because they don't understand their value. They think all they are is I have access to the MLS. All I do is just, write up a quick contract for you. Reduce the deal and you'll figure out how much you're worth. I made the mistake once, had a buyer, met him, internet buyer, met him, first house. We decided we were going to write an offer and he asked for a reduced commission. I was brand new. I'm like, well, sweet. I mean, we've seen one house. I just met the guy. Yeah, I'll do it for 1.5%. So I sent him over to the buyer's rep. Well, guess what? We didn't get that house. 6 months later, I'm still working with that buyer. And I'm doing it for half the commission. I think I was very motivated when he would call at Friday at 5 and want to go see a house, and I'd rather go out to the Rangers game that night. I'm already taking half the commission. I'm good. I'm not going to show him. He got less service. Not right then and there was when I decided I'm never doing a reduced commission up front. Because I either give 100% effort and receive 100% compensation, or I don't do it because I'm not willing to provide less than 100%. And I found personally, when I'm not being paid 100%, my motivation goes away. Because if I'm willing to say I'm going to work with you, then I need to be willing to do it at 100%. And personally, if I'm getting paid a third of what I should be, in my opinion, then the reality is I'm just not gonna give you 100%, so I don't allow myself to be in that position. I mean, it's when they ask for your commission, could you imagine like if any other job, the boss walked up and said, hey, Mike, I know you've been doing great filing these TPS reports, you're one of our top TPS report filers here at corporationinc.com. But we'd like you to keep working for the next 6 months. We want you to do it for a third of what we're paying you. Would you work as hard? No. How ridiculous would that be? Yet people feel like they can ask us all the time. Why? Because we don't explain our value. And then if you truly show them what you're going to bring to the table, how I'm going to be the duck legs while this thing rides smoothly over the water, they don't even think to ask. And so the best way to overcome the commission objection is to understand the value that you provide. Understand all that it takes to do a transaction. Understand everything that goes on behind the scenes and how to explain that so that they can see that value. So functionary versus fiduciary, the third and final aspect of service is fiduciary. What is fiduciary and how is it different than functionary? Well, let's go way back to middle school English class. Fiduciary is both an adjective and a noun. Adjective describes a noun is a person, place, or thing. As an adjective, it refers to something dealing with trust, especially relationships. You have a fiduciary duty to your clients to protect their best interests during what will likely be the largest and most frightening transaction in their life. And as a noun, fiduciary refers to the person who has a fiduciary obligation. You are your client's fiduciary. A functionary is one who completes tasks for the client, whereas a fiduciary completes tasks and goes beyond by placing their client's interests ahead of all others, even their own. Are you willing to place your client's interests above your own? Are you willing to show that house that has a $1 commission? There was a city up in Iowa that Keller Williams moved into in about 2007, and they decided there was one brokerage up there that had over 85% of listings. What a huge city. I think over 100,000 people though. And they decided the broker that had 85% of the listings, they didn't want Keller Williams moving into their city. So they had a rule that if you sold one of their houses and you were with any brokerage but KW, you got 3%. If you were with KW, you got $1. Not that those KW agents are in a pretty tight spot. 85% of the listings up there were owned by that brokerage. They had two choices. They could be a functionary and only worry about doing themselves a favor. Then I'm not showing you those. What they did was they showed them and they sold them and they didn't ask for anything. They sold a crap ton of homes for $1. Now at the same time, you work for Keller Williams. We ain't gonna let that fly. We sued the ever living you-know-what out of those folks and we won. You can't do that. If you want to make it $1, you have to do it. Now, had they made it for everybody, we wouldn't have sued them. But when you specifically pick out a brokerage and sue them, yeah, it's against the law. They eventually won that lawsuit. What we did as a company, to tell you the kind of culture we were at, they announced this in family reunion and said, we want to create a fund to make those agents whole. The agents didn't ask for this, but we as a company decided, and within 5 minutes, we had raised over $250,000. That fund went, that first year went well over $1 million, so that we were able to pay from our company every dollar that those agents were owed for commission. But they did not know that going, there was no guarantee that was going to, they didn't know we were going to do that at family reunion. They went out and performed their fiduciary responsibility, which was to help those folks purchase a home. Just so happened they were going to get $1 for it. Would you be willing to do the same? That's putting your client's interests above yours. That's showing them the house, even though you know you may not get paid on it. That'll test you. Somebody wants to do this business for free, but there's so much I do that I don't get paid for, and that's okay. And right now, we've got homestead exemptions. It's reminding everybody that they need to file their homestead exemption. It's not my job. That's part of the value I provide. Taxes, when the new year tax gets sent out. A lot of my clients are gonna protest their taxes. They need comparable market analysis to do so. I'm gonna probably run 20 to 30 CMAs that take about an hour a piece to help my clients, but I get nothing financially out of that. They don't call me and say, hey, my tax bill just got lowered by $30,000. You wanna split that difference? Be cool if they did. They don't. Does me financially today, but do you think that maybe financially works out well for me in the end? You think I'm creating those clients for life? Exactly. They see it. Those that don't aren't the kind of clients I want to work with. The kind of clients I like working with are the ones that see that, man, you go above and beyond. We call after a major hailstorm. I pick up the phone and I call every one of my past clients, seeing A, are they okay? B, do we need to get a roofer out, an insurance adjuster, a fence guy? You need your car beat up. Did the car get beat up? You get nothing financially out of any of that. None of those companies I provide the referrals to give me anything on the back end, but I'm going that extra mile for my clients. Part of my value proposition is my service does not end the day of closing. It is a lifetime commitment that I'm going to help you with all your real estate needs, whether that's buying, selling, investing, which comes with a commission, or sometimes just understanding your market value, keeping you up to date on things, making sure you have available resources that you need. So it's a lifelong commitment. And that's how you create customers for life that come back time and time and time again. That's how you build referrals. You don't worry about the bottom line, you do it because it's the right thing to do. And I'm telling you, it always comes back tenfold. And if you do the wrong thing, that seems to always come back tenfold. Guess what? You decide to help one client, you cut him a discount. Guess what's gonna happen? He's gonna go tell, my mom did it to one of my brother's friends. The little jackass went and told all my brother's other friends. We'll call Jan, she'll do it for 1%. This was my brother's best friend. She cut him a deal. It was literally, my dumbass brother would run away from home. He would go stay over at Jeff's house. Like he was like our third brother. But then he went and told everybody, and guess what? Now they all want that same reduction. It comes back. Whether you do it the right way or the wrong way. She didn't do anything wrong. She's trying to help him out, but she reduced her value and word got around, and that's what all his little friends wanted. Just would refer them all to me and let me be the asshole that would tell them I'm not. I hated you guys when you were in 7th grade. I still hate you. You're a bunch of little punks. They're now cute little adults and nice people, but I still view them as the little kids I would give noogie sandwiches to when I get home from football. So it's understanding, are you going to be the functionary? Because there are. You're going to run across them. There's lots of them out there that are in this for nothing more than the paycheck. A lot of us probably, look, I'm not going to lie, I got into this business because the money is exceptional. It's the only job I know that, especially without a college degree, can provide me an uncapped income potential. Literally as much as I want to make. It's up to me. I go look, I'm a big sports fan. Damn near half the sports teams are owned by folks that came from real estate. There is an incredible financial opportunity. But to me, it's not worth making the money if I got to do it the wrong way. What's cool is you can do it the right way and you can still make money, and sometimes you can make a lot more money because you create clients for life. So know and state your value. So this is a 2018. I'm going to pull it up. So we got to know what people want. We're going to go over this, and then we're going to call it a day and clear out for everyone. So to know your value, you kind of got to understand what the heck do they want. So highlight profiles of the home buyer. So each year, the NAR does a study with 5,000 buyers, 5,000 sellers, kind of finding out who they are and what they want. And so every year, it's always interesting to go and kind of see these numbers and understand how this will help you affect. Why would knowing, who the buyers are and what they look for, why would that help you? Well, if I'm just guessing at what they find valuable, then I'm in this. But if I can literally see, here's what buyers find valuable, don't you think I would make sure that my value proposition probably included some of the things that I know the buyers are looking for? Don't you think my listing proposition would include some of the things that I know sellers are looking for? So in 2019, and we may even have 2020 is probably not out yet. but 33% of recent home buyers were first-time home buyers. Typical home buyer was 47. 89% of buyers purchased their home through an agent or broker. I know that went up to 92% last year. 29% of buyers' primary reason for buying was the desire to own their own home. Home sellers, the typical home seller was 57. 89% of sellers worked with a real estate agent to sell their home. 34% of sellers offered incentives to attract buyers. 99% for recently sold homes, the final sales price was a meeting of 99% of the final listing price. Working with a realtor. Home buyers. Help finding the right home was what buyers wanted most when choosing an agent at 52%. That number has continually gone down now. Because it is, they can find the homes these days. 41% of buyers used an agent that was referred to them by a friend, neighbor, or relative. 4 out of every 10 buyers was referral. It's got to be a huge part of your business. 90% of buyers would use their agent again or recommend their agents to others. Yet we know only 12% did. As we don't follow up with them. Most of us, our value proposition ends the day of closing. But if it's a lifetime commitment, that's how that 90% continues to keep referring you deals. Clients for life. Home sellers, 75% of recent sellers contacted only one agent before finding the one they worked with to sell their home. Those of you who are starting to get ready to go meet with listings, you get all worried, oh my God, I don't know that I know my presentation. Well, here's the good news. 3 out of 4 are only the game was the appointment. You already nailed it. You didn't realize you nailed it. Now you're coming over to list their house. They've already decided. Don't psych yourself out. 3 out of 4 don't meet with a second agent. Look, would you want 4 agents to come over and interview? We're not that fun. I mean, I would like to think I make the transaction fun, but I don't think they want to do it 4 times and have a listing presentation. And to me, it's not even a presentation. It's a consultation and conversation. I don't speak at them, I speak with them. 66% of sellers found their agent through a referral from a friend, neighbor, or relative. Interesting. 25% more sellers were referrals. It's 2 out of 3 listings came from a friend, family member, or someone that referred them. 70% said that they would recommend their agents for future services. You know what the #1 complaint about service with listings is? Any guesses? It's the biggest feedback we get why an agent's not doing their job. And I think it's the same for buyers.
Communication.
Bingo. We don't communicate. We'll call them when there's good news. We don't like to call them when there's bad news. You need to be calling them no matter what. At minimum, call each one of my sellers once a week to update them on the market. How many showings do we have in the last 7 days? What feedback have I gotten? Have any other homes hit the market? What are those homes priced for? Did anything go under contract? How long was it on the market? Did anything close out? Do we have new sales prices we can look at? It's that communication. It's staying in touch with them. Even sometimes it's calling them just to say, no real news. That I've got, nothing's happened. We had 2 showings this week, didn't get any feedback, nothing new come on the market, nothing's gone away. But it's making sure that you communicate with them. Saw a post from a Keller Mortgage, and I've always had a good experience from Keller Mortgage, but the agent was upset because her client hadn't heard back from Keller Mortgage in like 2 weeks. And she reached out to the mortgage lender, and the mortgage lender said, well, you haven't heard from us because there's nothing going on. If I need anything from your client, I'll get in contact with them. That ain't good service. I don't care if it's nothing going on. You call my client at least once a week. Say, hey, this is John with the mortgage company. Just want to let you know everything's rocking along smoothly. We got this going through underwriting. We're just waiting on getting that back. As soon as we do, we'll get you loan approval. You're good to go. If we need anything from you, we'll call you. Otherwise, you'll hear from me in a week with an update. Don't just call them the day before closing and say, hey, it's all good. You want to know what's going on in the process. Communication is key. One of the things we ask our buyers and sellers, how do we best communicate with you? Would you prefer if I called you, text you, email? Well, I prefer you text me. Cool. Is it okay if I text during work hours? I know you got a busy job. Yeah, that's fine. Awesome. Well, you'll hear from my team every Monday at the latest. To the point where if I haven't called them on Monday, I'm going to call, hey man, is everything okay? Yeah, why? Well, I didn't hear from you today. And you promised me every Monday and you've been so consistent. I figured something went wrong. Like have that. So that the one time you forget, like that'll show you whether you're doing a good job with it. Is if the one time you don't, they immediately are worried about you because something must have gone off the trails. I didn't answer a phone call yesterday. My phone was in the shop. I was getting my screen fixed. One of my coaching clients was literally because I always will call them back and answer their phone. And my phone was there from 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. Literally when I went at 2 p.m., I had a call from Sarah, the team leader, asking if I was okay. That agent had called twice that morning and I hadn't called back by 2. They were worried about me because I've so consistently been, I get back to you. I get back to you. Finding a home, the first 44%, the first step, 44% of recent home buyers took in the home buying process was to look online at properties for sale. 87% of recent buyers found their real estate agent to be a very useful information source. Buyers typically searched for 10 weeks and looked at a median of 9 homes. We're getting something good for lunch. I can smell it. Aspiring buyers. 57% of non-owners believed it would be at least somewhat difficult to become a homeowner based on their current financial situation. 78% of non-owners believe home ownership is a good financial decision, and 75% non-owners believe home ownership is a part of their American dream. The desire to own homes is no less than it was 20, 30 years ago. The education's what's changed. The younger generations, finances wasn't something a lot of our parents spoke with us about. I was a very private thing in my house. I didn't know my parent, how purchasing what a mortgage was. Probably not even until I was, in real estate. I didn't understand the process. Most of my buddies were never taught how to purchase a home, what it takes to purchase a home. So it's a lack of education, not a lack of desire. So part of your value, well, what could you infer from that? What would, especially if you're like me and you want to work with a lot of first-time home buyers, what would a big part of my value need to be? Bingo. I'm not only going to help you find the right home, I'm going to help you educate you on the process. I'm going to keep you informed of how it works the whole way through. So that's part of my value. If you're working with, senior citizens and they're moved down, then does that need to be a huge part of it? Probably not. At that point, I'm assuming if they've bought or sold some houses, they at least kind of understand the process. Don't assume completely though, because it may have been 10 years and the market may be completely different. And so you can get a snapshot for both today's home buyers and home sellers. 33% are home buyers, 24% had student debt. Average household income of buyers was $93,000. 50% bought a home in a suburban area. 87% purchased a single family home. 12% was the median down payment. 89% purchased their homes through a real estate agent or broker. And then we'll take a quick look at the sellers and then we will get some ahas and call it a day. Snapshot of sellers today. 44% traded up to a larger home. 60,000 was the median equity gain. Does everybody understand the differences between median and average? So average is taking any set of numbers and taking them all and dividing it by however many. So if I had 5 numbers, I'd add them all and divide it by 5. Median, what they do is they throw out the high and the low. So like when I'm paying attention to prices, I really like to look at median more than I do average. Reason being, maybe there was that one house that sold way above comps, and maybe that one foreclosure in the neighborhood. This will take that out of that set. The median takes out the outliers. So that's why a lot of times in real estate, we focus more on a median than an average. And I can't promise you that when I first started, I could have explained the difference between median and average. I knew they were probably similar, but not like exactly sure. 10 years tenure in home before selling. Distance between home sold and new home purchased, 20 miles. And 89% used a real estate agent or broker to sell. So we will kind of wrap up listening to all those stats. I know it's a bunch of numbers. What'd you learn? What surprised you? Anything?
A lot more people want to buy than we realize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the desire to own homes is there, and most people still consider it a part of the American dream, is to own a home. What a home has looked like has changed, but I don't think the desire has changed. Do you know, even then, what do we see? 87% purchased a single family home. I feel like some of these builders and condos and townhomes may be overestimated, and we're seeing that in some of the major cities. Like, no, the next generation, we still want grass in our backyards. We still want a patio. And boy, if you think that number is going to change, if anything, after the pandemic, it's going to just go higher. People want a little bit more space. We want to be able to stretch our legs, let the dog go outside and run around. Have your inflatable hot tub in the backyard. It's my white trash dream right there. If I can just add a jet ski to it, I am good to go. But so it's using these numbers to help you understand where you can provide value, what it is that home buyers and home sellers are looking for, and how you can best build a business that helps provide that value. Like we talked about, if you want to work with first-time home buyers, education is key. So who's got an idea of what they would like their ideal client to be? Anyone?
First time home buyers.
They're fun ones, but it can be move-up buyers. Move-up buyers are great. Move-up buyer, why they're great because we're normally selling one house and purchasing one for more. The retirees are great. There's a niche there. Cheryl Webb, she works at 55 and up community. Really understands that. And once you decide who your ideal customer is, can you go learn more? Do you think Cheryl spends a ton of time going to Uptown and looking at condos? Probably not. Think she spends a lot of time going out to like the Dale Webb communities and like seeing those? Absolutely, because she knows where she wants to work. She's able to focus on that. When you're all things to everybody, you don't even know what product to go focus on. Maybe you decide new construction is going to be your niche. Then you just love helping folks find new construction. There's something really nice about a home where you're the first person to use the anything. Yeah. One of the first things I do is like replace my shower. Any home I moved into is I replace that shower head. I don't know why. I get the weird, I don't want someone else's shower water coming on me. So we're wrapping up.
Okay, I was gonna say,
Yep.
I was gonna get the
We
hook.
know.
I was gonna get the hook.
We're going, flash that like the comedy show, you flash the light twice at me. So I appreciate you guys. Tomorrow we will dive in a little bit more. Go out, lead generate, make those 10 contacts, 10 conversations. You're either talking about real estate or you're growing the relationship. Right now, for a lot of us, it's growing that relationship. And start to think tonight, who is your ideal client? Doesn't mean you're not going to work with. I still work with investors. And you just heard me tell you, I don't necessarily enjoy it. But I have them and I work with them. So just because I have an ideal client doesn't mean I don't work with others. But if we could design your ideal client, what do they look like? How old are they? How much money do they make? Guess what? If you know that, then do you think you can figure out how to maybe go market towards them? One of the things when you run Facebook ads, you got to put demographics in. If I don't know who my ideal client is, I'm going to be like age range 18 to 99. I know what I'm looking for is, especially love the first time home buyers, typically looking 25 to 40. Love finding folks that just got married. What do they typically do after they get married? They go buy houses. So might I go do some marketing at like a bridal show? Maybe it's a place to meet. So when you figure out who your ideal client is, a lot of your decisions can be made based upon that. So thank you guys so much for an awesome Tuesday. Stick around for the team meeting. We got lunch out there. I think they'll start serving it very shortly. And then we'll pile back in here for the team meeting today.
Is that supposed to be?
I don't know. I think it came from right there. Oh, this?
No, oh,
Probably not. So we keep those so in case you need to plug in class. Next step is we need the tables that have the plugs on them.
Everyone should stay around because we're having our monthly sales meeting. If you guys want to answer those in your food.
Oh, they know.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Calm down.
Thank you all for your patience.
Sorry, bro. I should be on the end.
Big healthy? Yeah. Okay, I don't want to get I know.
I know. I see your face on Zoom.
It's like it's a math, I'm like, yeah, it's hard.
How was it back, you guys?
Teacher's a little boring, but
Well, you'll have really.
Don't submit, don't ask for Google reviews then.
I have Monday, I think. I'm sure.
I'll confirm with you, but I believe that is correct.
Yeah.
But I